There is the scene in London, Ontario. It is the return of the Camlock Classic to the raceway at Western Fair District. So glad to be back here in London with the track signature race after a hiatus of 2 years. And going to be a busy night in our Paddock location, of course. And Mother Nature kind of teasing us today on and off. We had a big downpour about an hour before racing tonight, but it's holding off and not a bad night weather-wise. And hey, Randy, we are just happy to be here. Randy Waples, of course, joining me here. And we were talking about Legends Day coming up, and he is certainly a legend. He's won this race before. He's won almost everything there is to win in the sport, but does a pretty good job on the broadcast side as well. Great to have you on board again.
Well, I really appreciate it, Greg. Thank you very much for having me, and it looks like a fantastic night of racing. I'm not 100% sure if I wouldn't have drove down here just to watch the race, so this works out even better.
And we were talking, after a 2-year absence, everything we've gone through with COVID, to see the grandstand full, the patio hopping tonight here as well. And again, just hoping that the weather really holds off throughout the night. But it's wonderful to hear the buzz and feel that atmosphere again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember driving down here one year in the pouring rain to drive State Treasure in this race. And it rained pretty good that night, but it didn't dampen the enthusiasm for the race. It was just a fantastic race. It's been around a very long time, renamed a couple of times, but we all know that this is the major race in London, and a lot of people want to win it, and I was lucky enough to win it once myself.
Yeah, a lot of star power here tonight. We've got 4 City of London finals, OSS Grassroots for 3-year-old filly pacers. The return of the Forest City Pace for pacing mares. What a great field. I think the best ever for pacing mares on this track. But the Camlock, of course, is the main event, and star power galore this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's from top to bottom. You can really find a case for every single horse top to bottom. Then you got to throw in the unknown factor of hot drivers. Is there any hot drivers here tonight, Trevor?
Well, there
Trevor
is.
Blanchard?
Yeah, for those who are tuning in on simulcast before joining us, will know that Trevor Henry has swept the first 5 on the program. And he's got this as the plan on that graphic board, the fastest horse ever on a half-mile track. 1:47.3, amazing last year at Northfield in their Battle of Lake Erie. We've got the Breeders' Crown champ back. Ocean Rock, that's was quite a get for Tony Elliott and the crew here. Your Breeders' Crown champion for last year from Ohio, make his first start of the year. Tough spot for that.
Very tough spot. It would have been better. Like I would have liked it better if he'd have come in off of something other than qualifiers. You know, it's hard to go into a race of this depth off of qualifiers, but he's a great horse. Sure. So I mean, maybe he's ready to rock and show them just exactly, why he's the Breeders' Crown champion.
All right. Well, we now want to introduce the other member of our broadcast team tonight. Rejoining us, we haven't had her on the show in a while. Jamie McDonald standing by in our Paddock location to tell us what we can look forward to over the next couple of hours.
Thanks, Greg. I'm excited to be back here and back on COSA-TV after a little hiatus and another baby, but we're back and ready for some action here in the paddock. I've already talked to a few trainers and drivers, and the excitement here is overwhelming, but of course, like you said, right now it's the Trevor Henry show. So everyone's kind of looking to beat him out there on the track, but we've got a great coverage here on COSA tonight, starting with race 7 through 11. We're going to kick it off with the boys for the City of London final. Moving on to the fillies, our 3-year-olds, OSS Grassroots, the Princeton Farms Preferred, our Forest City Pace, and of course that $150,000 Camluck Classic. Good luck to everyone playing along tonight, and we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
London, get ready. The $150,000. London, get ready. The $150,000 Camlock Classic returns to the Raceway Friday, May 27th, featuring fine dining, party on the patio, giveaways, and more. Parking and admission are free. Visit camlockclassic.ca.
By now, you know the name COSA-TV, an industry leader producing unique, high-quality digital content promoting harness racing in Ontario. Features, virtual programming, live events, and more. COSA-TV has it covered. Follow our social media channels And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to view the latest content. And if you're looking to bet your favorite Ontario track, check out hpibet.com. COSA-TV, taking Ontario racing global.
And welcome back. There is the starting gate car here at the Raceway in London, Ontario. All wrapped in our Raceway branding. Brad Paddock and crew standing by with the start of race 6. We've got a bit of bonus coverage for you tonight. We were going to have races 7 through 11, but as fate would have it, they're getting ready to roll for race 6. It's another of those OSS grassroots divisions. Let's throw it upstairs to track announcer Shannon Sugar Doyle.
We've got St. Led's Bayou, then Velvet Stinger, Power of an Angel, Infinity Sealster, Girl in a Tavern, More Than My Hometown, momentarily, 7 Noses all on gate, a 16th out. Here they come. Off and pacing, Infinity Sealster, Jody Jameson sending this one, Girl in a Tavern, floating on up there for Bob McClure. She's second, not even taking a peek at the pocket. She drove right on by. Here's Bob McClure with a 2-to-1 drive-by, possibly. Girl in a Tavern is going to the top. Infinity Sealster pockets up in second at 30-to-1. St. Led's Bayou is racing at a third, a midfield fourth for Power of an Angel. Traveling out of fifth as they went by that quarter mile was Velvet Stinger, and she's a bit bumpy gated into turn number 2. Quarter mile, your bullet, 27-1, belongs to Girl in a Tavern. Girl in a Tavern looking brave on this front end mission. Infinity Sealster continuing in second, and there goes Power of an Angel, an uncovered third. Fourth and in for St. Led's Bayou. A second over toe up in fifth now for More Than My Hometown. Outside of 6 momentarily, and still the bumpy gated Velvet Stinger. She's now trailing the half-timed up in 57-1. Big time breather for the big filly Girl in a Tavern. She's got less than 3/8 to go to seal this deal. Girl in a Tavern down the backside. Power of an Angel second best. She's on the wheel of the leader. A gapped pocket sitter. Infinity Sealster holding down third. It's More Than My Hometown out there. Went fourth. Fifth and in for St. Led's Bayou. Up between Pacer, still fumbly gated there. Velvet Stinger, and way out there momentarily 3/4. Hit me. 1:25-2. Girl in a Tavern. Bob McClure hit the go switch, and she has turned it on. Girl in a Tavern. She appears to have her goodbye shoes on tonight. Girl in a Tavern, though the strides are shortening up, they're coming to her. Girl in a Tavern, far outside. Velvet Stinger! Velvet Stinger from nowhere. She was fumbly gated throughout. She put it all together for a final 8 surge, and she wins in 1:55-3. McDonald on board for Gallucci at 8-5.
1:55-3. Well, we knew turning for home, Randy, that Trevor Henry's big streak was likely coming to an end, but we thought it was going to be Bob McClure hanging on. Looked like that one was home free. Yeah, I thought he was too, and I was the same as you. I thought Trevor was setting himself up to make it 6 in a row, but the horse just didn't have it, and you know, James given another one of his fantastic James McDonald steers, and was able to capitalize. James McDonald, Nick Gallucci, and the Miller Farms. What else is new? And they click here with Velvet Stinger, 3-year-old Bettor's Delight filly, who was coming off a win at Woodbine, her first career win in start number 6 there, won narrowly by a neck. Moves to the half-mile oval tonight and follows that up with a last-second heroics to pull one out of the fire here at 1:55-3. So that's going to set us up nicely and get us going here tonight at the Raceway in London. Again, an electric crowd here in the grandstand. It's awesome to hear the noise when they were coming to the finish there, Randy. We're right in the middle of it here at the Raceway this evening. We've got, of course, the big tent across the way with the infield party happening, party on the patio with live entertainment, and a whole lot more. Want to welcome everybody tuning in tonight. As always, we've got viewers from all over who have joined us this evening. We'd love to hear from you in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you've got a question for Mr. Waples that you'd like to pass along this evening, please let us know. I know one question we're getting a lot tonight, Randy, is where can people get these jackets? They're a hit.
They're pretty snazzy, huh?
They're good. They're very good.
Very nice. I like them.
Nice and warm, too. And, yeah, a little bit on the cooler side. We were hoping for a nicer evening. Got pretty hot this afternoon when the sun peeked out momentarily. But, unfortunately, we had the big downpour a little bit earlier. But the track has really rebounded nicely. It's drying out. And they're going some big miles tonight, so it doesn't look like it's off too much, if anything, right now.
No, and I mean, and the weather's good enough. It's kind of warmish out. I think it'll dry a little bit if they need, and they've got it sealed up pretty good. It looks like it's a little bit firm. So once they cut it before this race, I would say that this track is going to be as fast tonight as you'd want it.
All right, look in the victory winner's circle here at the raceway, and this filly looks like another good one for Team Millar, Gallucci, and McDonald, and goes right from non-winners of one to win at the grassroots level. So not easy to do, especially when switching from the big track to the smaller oval.
Yes, I agree. And it's just the last couple of years. I mean, they're definitely one of the hottest combinations in Ontario, Nick Gallucci and James McDonald. So it's really nice to see. They're both young guys. They're both kind of starting their careers at the same time, and hopefully this goes on for a while.
All righty, so we've got one in the books, and then we'll be getting into our late pick 5 in just a few moments. Race number 7 will kick off that for us this evening, and it will be one of those City of London finals. And these always end up good, Randy. These are horses that are maybe not quite at the stakes level yet in their careers, but you can get rapid improvement right from week 1 of a series like this to the final, and by the time you get to the final you generally get a good competitive field of 8.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these horses at some point will probably start to maybe make a move down towards Mohawk, try the big track, and they're getting a lot of experience here, and that's great for these young horses. That's what's so fantastic about these series is they get in every 7 days. They can race and learn how to be good race horses.
All right, a look inside our paddock location, and again, the horsepower assembled there tonight maybe as good as any other time in the Raceway's history. You talk big names, you know, the Camluck itself over the years has drawn big horses, but that for a city pace tonight, I think, is the best field of older mares that I can remember seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's nice to see it back. It disappeared for a couple of years, and it's just nice to see it back because we have the alimony at the Flamborough, but we don't have very many races for the older stars and older mare stars, and it's nice to see them here. Everybody's nice and close, so get a good chance to see them up close, and like you said, it's a very, very deep field.
And that's wonderful to see too. Fans out en masse down trackside enjoying the festivities tonight and getting to interact with you guys. I know you guys love nights like this, right?
Yes.
Where there's people out there and they appreciate what you guys do. They appreciate the great horses they're watching and just enjoying the night in general.
It's such a difference between being in maybe in the Toronto area where it just seems like racing is more handicap driven, you know, with the handicappers and that. Here it just seems like it's more people that are there to enjoy the horses, and that's nice to see.
All right, right now I think we will take a quick commercial break, and when we come back we'll set up race number 7, the first of our late pick 5 on our way to the Camlock Classic.
By now, you know the name COSA-TV, an industry leader producing unique, high-quality digital content promoting harness racing in Ontario. Features, virtual programming, live events, and more. COSA-TV has it covered. Follow our social media channels and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to view the latest content. And if you're looking to bet your favorite Ontario track, check out hpibet.com. COSA-TV, taking Ontario racing global.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with
All right, welcome back to the Raceway in London, Ontario. where it was the Trevor Henry show, winning the first 5 on the program. James McDonald and company spoil the party there in race number 6. Randy Waples joining me on the desk, Jamie McDonald in our Paddock location. Wonderful to have you all with us here tonight, wherever you are tuning in from. We'll say hello to Shelley from Moline, Illinois. Got Doug Martin tuning in from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Got folks from Massachusetts joining in as well, including Mel Dennis. Wonderful to have you all on board. Andy Carnegie's watching in on the Raceway Facebook page as well. Yeah, Trevor Henry winning the first 5 tonight. I thought we might be looking at that Dave Miller 10-pack from a few years back on Jug Day.
Yeah, for sure. And the only thing I can say is that when one streak stops, then another streak should start. So maybe we'll see Trevor sweep the last half of the card as well.
All right, and in here he's got post 1 with a Greg McNair pupil in Airy Shadow, rapidly improving individual. There's a great chance Trevor could get right back on the horse, so to speak, and back into the win column. Well, we have a moment. We'll get the guys in the truck to maybe queue up our trivia question for you tonight. Of course, it is on a Camlock Classic theme. Want you to try and name the only 2 horses to ever three-peat in the race, which was known as the Labatt initially, then the Molson Pace for a number of years, renamed the Camlock Classic a few years back. Only 2 horses in the long history of the event have been able to three-peat. And you know what? Let's throw a hint out there. Randy Waples drove one of them to the first of those 3
narrows
wins.
it down.
There's a bit of a hint for folks. And if you know the answer, let us know in the chat. We want to test your Labatt, Molson / Camluck trivia here tonight. Phil Cool joining us tonight from Inverness, Nova Scotia. A guy you know well, Randy.
What's that?
Phil Cool joining us tonight from Inverness, his new home
there
in
you go,
Inverness.
Phil Cool. There's a familiar name.
He's down there eating lobster and crab and fishing and just enjoying life. So hello to Phil and hello to everybody there tonight. Folks out on the patio location joining us as well. We'll take another quick commercial break and be back with a closer look at race 7 upcoming, that first City of London final.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
Quarters coming up, quite a sensation. On the outside, me got a bread in 1:27 flat. Pacing around the turn, down to an 1/8 of a mile to go. The once world's record by line time. They've got a shot. Me got a bread on the outside. Quite a sensation. High class Minbar. Coming up now is Atlantic Flyway and Umbrella Cruiser. Look at the finish. Me got a bread.
All right, first of our memory lanes tonight. What a trip down memory lane that was when it was known as the Labatt Pace. 87, I believe it was. Me got a Brett. Keith Clark turning back high class Minbar. The Western Canadian Invaders that year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, remember how tough high-class Minbar was? Man, he was as tough as Billy O'Donnell would say. He was as tough as whalebone. And he was. What a nice horse. Could take a ton of air, sit out there. He almost got there that night, too. You know, he got a really good trip, but Clarkie's horse was just the best.
Tough as a $2 steak. That's another one we've heard.
You Maritimers have all the good sayings.
Yes, exactly. So great to look back. We've got a few more of those that we're going to look at. Fortunately, the video quality back in that era wasn't as good.
No.
But it's still awesome to look back at the horses. And, you know, back in at that time, those were the best horses in Canada.
Yes.
And that tradition's continued over the years. It's amazing some of the horses that we've been able to draw to the venue for this race.
It is, but this is a classic race. That's the whole thing. It didn't matter if they called it the Labatt, the Molson, or now the Camluck. This is a very important a race for older horses to start their career off, or their year off. Everybody likes to come to London.
And there's a look across the way over in our infield tent. Some folks enjoying the night, some great food, some wagering, and a really unique vantage point of the races. There's Lauren House, and Randy, he's a guy here locally that we see with a smaller number of horses that he's training now. He's still doing a bit of catch driving, but drives primarily his own. But, you know, pound for pound, when he's on the right horse, and you would have driven against him over the years, he can get one around with the best of them.
Absolutely, and he's put his time in. You know, he's been around a long time. He's worked for different people, and he's always had the talent. Now he's getting a few better horses of his own to drive. Obviously, again, with talent, you know, he's got these horses racing really well, and he's a sharp kid. You know, he'll do well. I guess everybody's a kid to me anymore.
Speaking of that, you're going to be in Clinton this year. As part of Legends Day, you're actually competing.
Yes.
And you said it's kind of strange for you because you're at that in-between age where you still have trouble wrapping your head around the fact people are considering you a legend as you compete against guys that you idolized.
That's the whole thing. Like it's kind of, you know, I'll put it. I watched an interview the other day, and it was Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Bobby Orr. And the interviewer said to them, "Would it be safe to say that the greatest hockey player of all time is sitting at this table?" And they said no, because Gordie Howe's not here. Now that's Gretzky, Orr, and so it's hard for me to be beside O'Donnell, my dad, Brownie, Condren, Davey Wall, all these guys. Like, they were my idols, and it's hard to put myself in their category.
Yeah, you know, and that's like a Connor McDavid now. Many are saying, you know, he might be the greatest talent that they've seen. And, you know, it would be hard to argue. But I'm sure if you asked him, he would defer and say, well, you know, I'm not there yet, and I haven't accomplished what these guys have done. So it's just great to see the next generation of talent coming along. And we'll see some of that in this particular race. We saw Lauren with Greystone E&O. And the Greystone horses, you've got the Caddies and Alana and Dylan Ballore. They breed a lot of the Greystone horses, and you know there's not a lot of them, but all of them seem to be quality horses, and this is no exception.
For a smaller end breeding operation, I completely agree, because you always see these Greystone horses racing in stake finals. They really are do a very, very good job, and this looks like he's a really nice colt.
Yep. All right, that trivia question we asked you earlier, the only two horses ever to three-peat in this event, which has changed names over the years, and a lot of people have been able to come up with one half of it. State Treasurer, a horse near and dear to Randy's heart. Of course, he started the three-peat with this guy back in 2013. And he went on to win the next 2 years consecutively. All right, I think we're heading over to the Paddock location. Jamie McDonald with a special guest. Actually, let's get the post parade in first, and then we'll head over to Jamie with her special guest in a moment. So let's meet the field. Trevor Henry looking for win number 6 in just 7 races on the card. Remarkable night so far. He's got a big shot here with Airy Shadow, a Shadow Play colt. He's had only 2 starts this year, and he's already been a winner for Team McNair. Number 2, Delightful Wine, Daniel Kerr driving, 2-time winner on the season. And then the aforementioned Greystone E&O, 3 to 5, Randy, and by looking at his chart lines, he's deserving of that.
That last line is very, very nice line. You know, leaves out of there 28 flat, and still throws in a third quarter of 27-3. Still comes home better than 30 seconds on the end of it. Mile and 54 and change. I mean, that really stands out on the program page.
The husband-wife combination of Maddie and Travis Henry will team up with number 5, Yarm. And Yarm comes in with 3 wins and 6 on-the-board finishes in 7 this year. Local conditioner Britt Kennedy co-owns and trains Doc's Philly Cheese, the number 6, Garrett Rooney driving. A winner in leg 2 of this series last time out. Almost there, boss. James McDonald, he'll have to weave some of that magic again here, Randy, from post 7.
and he's going to have to weave it for the one of the stable horses, which is basically looked after by his brother Anthony McDonald. So this could be a McDonald either love-in or hate fest here in a few minutes.
And number 8, Super FM, rounds out the field. Tyler Borth, our top local reinsman this past season, teams up with trainer Sean Hyatt and this son of Better Than Cheddar. And don't forget, here in London, we score 7 wide, bit of a throwback, 7 wide, and number 8 starts from the second tier trailing spot. As promised, let's head back over to our Paddock location and catch up with Jamie McDonald.
Thanks, guys. Courtney Bishop, trainer of number 4, Leave and Bruises here, joins us tonight. And Courtney, this little fella for you, 3 years old now. Tell us about him.
So last year as a 2-year-old, he was pretty small and underdeveloped. We got a couple qualifiers and races into him, but he showed us a little bit of talent, but he was also showing us that he just needed to grow a little bit more. So we decided to just shut him down, geld him, turn him out, and he's come back great as a 3-year-old. We have no complaints with him at all.
He's been racing phenomenal. Last week he ended with some broken equipment. What happened there?
Yeah, so he was a little goofy leaving the gate. He had the 7-hole, so he was spooking at the outside wall a little, and he ended up blowing a hobble hanger, so his hobble was hanging pretty low on him, so that's what they charged him with broken equipment. But he still finished up real strong, even with the broken equipment, so no complaints again.
And Jody's back in the bike tonight, starting mid-position. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Jody knows the horse. He qualified him for me and gave him his first start at Mohawk, which was tough, but he knows the horse for me, and I think they'll get along great.
Thanks for joining us here, and good luck tonight.
No problem. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Look forward to catching up with you throughout the balance of the night. And Courtney Bishop, nice to hear from her, co-owner and trainer of Leave and Bruises. Nice, productive son of Believe in Bruisers. Got Double J. This guy 3 for 5's really done nothing wrong this year.
No, very, very nice horse. And I don't know Courtney all that well. She's a little bit too young for me to know, but I did know her dad quite well, Gary Bishop, and he was a really, really excellent horseman. So it's not surprising to me to see that she's started her career off with such a flourish, and she has a really very, very nice colt here.
All right, and Jody, doing a bit of double duty for us recently as well. He was our special guest host when we had the driver challenge here a couple of weeks ago, and like you, Randy, he's a heck of a driver on the track, and he's kind of got that gift of gab too.
Oh yeah, I would imagine that he does. Yeah, for sure. It's easy for drivers to talk about driving and racing and stuff like that. It's actually a lot more difficult for a guy like you that is able to have the knowledge and see what he sees on the racetrack. But it'd be nice to see more drivers taking part and doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's fantastic because, if you get guys like us, we can come on here and we can talk ad nauseum, but we don't have that perspective that you guys have, to be sitting up behind these horses, to know kind of the inner workings of how the horse thinks and what can happen in an instant out there on the racetrack. And yeah, it's easy for us to drive here from the grandstand. Things I'm sure happen much, much faster in a race.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing with behind a race, and especially in stake finals or big races and stuff like that. Like, you need maybe about 9 plans into your head going out of there, and you got to basically go through them in about a thousandth of a second and try to come up with the best one for you, because it never usually happens the way that you think it's going to happen.
And this is a very unique venue, isn't it, Randy? And you've driven here a lot, but it's not a wide track. We only go 7 wide, pretty tight turns for a half mile. There's always a lot of flow, though. The racing's very exciting here, but I'm sure you have to change your approach a little bit when you come from a bigger track like Mohawk to this venue.
Well, and I think that you even have to change your approach a little bit, like in a way of Jordan Stratton racing at Yonkers all the time. It is a half-mile track, but this is a different little bit of a configuration to what Yonkers is. This is a very tight first turn that you go into, and you got to be aware. I think that's why a guy like Trevor Henry's able to come here and win the races that he does. He just knows the track so well.
Well, they are getting set to go for race number 7. It's a City of London final, horse and gelding pacers. This is going to be a good one. We'll see if Greystone Ian O can live up to that 3-5 status. Once again, Sugar Doyle with the race call.
There, boss, for 7 starters on gate plus 1 trailer. That is Super FM. 1/8 of a mile from the start. Race 7, Pacers, to start up a late pick 5. Here they come. They're rough, almost there, Boss. Quickly to take them on out of there along the inside second. Airy Shadow up there in the top 3. Delightful Wine away in 4. Greystone E&O parked in the early going 5th. He is leaving Bruises. Now finding pylon position here. So they all settle into pylons. Single file up towards the quarter mile. Almost there, Boss. James MacDonald, double digits here. 11-1 long shot leader, striding out there by 2. Quarter mile, soft in here. 28-1. Almost there, Boss. Greystone E&O right lined at a 4th. He's 3rd. He's soon to be 2nd. Will be challenging here on the half-mile approach. Almost there, Boss. On top, Greystone E&O. Let go is a heavy 1-5 fave here. He's up challenging now in 2nd. Inside, traveling 3rd. Airy Shadow. A gapped off 4th for Delightful Wine. Halftime leader. Almost there, Boss. Got to the half. 57-2. Holding down the play spot. Airy Shadow against the heavy favorite Greystone E&O, tracking 3rd. Delightful Wine, a move to the outside and 4th. There goes a leaving Bruises. Then came Super FM off the back end as Yarm. Doc's Philly Cheese is trailing down the backstretch. They travel, trying to get to almost there, Boss, is that heavy favorite. Grit grinding away, Greystone E&O, and moving outside in 3rd. Airy Shadow gets underway, leaving Bruises still up there in the top 4. 1:25-4 for 3/4. Almost there, Boss. Greystone E&O, a neck in front now. Out there in 3rd. Airy Shadow inside trap 4th. Leaving Bruises off the back end. Yarm into the stretch. Greystone E&O, he's leading. Airy Shadow on the outside. Try to come back. Almost there, Boss. Check the voltage in this coltage. Greystone E&O takes the City of London final. Almost there, Boss was 2nd. In for 3rd, Airy Shadow, 1:55-4 as Top Colt guts one out for Icehouse.
An absolutely huge effort from Greystone E&O. He had to work for every inch of this victory here tonight. Got away 4th, Lorney House. Supremely confident in the horse, but boy, he had to grind it out a long way, and he was getting tired, Randy, but the horse was digging, and that's a sign of a good one.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the way he's pulling up too. You know, he's still full of himself. He's fresh. You know, that was a great mile for that horse. You know, it was a risky move for Lauren to pull. I think originally thought maybe he could clear James coming out of the 2nd turn, but James was having none of it, and he was letting his horse stretch out and make Lauren pace on the outside of him. But that horse of Lauren's just would not give up. You know, he raced fantastic. I would say that of all the horses in there, he deserved the win the most.
And this track, not exactly lightning fast. Again, we had the heavy rain earlier, so it's drying. It's probably just a little bit tacky. The air, there's a lot of humidity in the air. It's cool tonight, kind of heavy, I would call it. And when you factor all of that in, it's understandable that it's a little bit tiring in that last quarter, which to me makes his win even more impressive.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, that was a great mile. It just was. Like, I mean, and when he come with them, like, I think originally his plan was to clear to the front. So when he did come with him, he come with some power. Like, he made him pace for a bit. And then, you know, he realized he wasn't going to get to the front, so he just sat out there with them. The horse powered back up again at the 3/4 pole. It looked like maybe Trevor might, you know, sneak off his back and have something to show at the end of it. But this little colt just dug right in and ears right up. Absolutely love seeing horses win races, ears up afterwards.
And Sports Writer really stamps his good ones. They're all kind of just a nice size. They're compact. They've got that nice economical gait, and you know, really well put together. And this guy kind of hits all those marks. Lorney House, he co-owns this guy as well. There's Ryan Clements. You'd know Ryan, and Ryan Willis. You know, well known to folks, especially on social media out there. These guys are on Twitter all the time. They're good friends, and I think they got to know each other through that medium, and now they team up with this guy. So this is what it's all about, Randy. Knightswick tonight. This is a big win for them. Not the huge purse, you know, that you'd see in NA Cup or anything like that, $30,000, but they're just as excited as anybody.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, you love that cooler. It says champion on the bottom of it. I mean, I remember one time racing at Milton Fair, and me and my brother wrestling on the ground to see who was going to get the cooler afterwards. That's all we cared about, was just the cooler. So, no, this is fantastic. It really is, and he deserves this win. He sure is full of himself, though.
Yeah, he is. He's a good feeler, and it translates on the racetrack. Now, in your experience, Randy, a race like tonight, first time he's really been heavily tested like that. Will that serve him well going forward?
I think so. I personally think that horses need to be stretched out a little bit before you start to see just how good that they get. If he came back to the winner's circle and he was completely exhausted, then that might scare me a little. But he's about as far from being exhausted as what you're going to find. He's got a lot of energy, this colt. So, yeah, I think it might just bust him loose a little bit more.
And we'll see another good-looking son of Sports Rider a little bit later tonight in the Camlock Classic. Of course, we're talking about Jimmy Freight. Big welcome to everybody watching tonight again. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the chat where you are tuning in from here this evening. Let us know what you thought of Greystone Ian O, who was expected to win and did so. Very impressive. And yeah, that's just really the entree. The main course still to come tonight. Lots of wonderful racing here this evening. Up next, we're going to have another OSS Grassroots division. I believe we're going to head over trackside here for an interview, potentially. Looking out there to see if our colleague Rob Reed Jr. is out there. I don't see him, so perhaps we'll catch up with him a little bit later. But again, Greystone, winning it impressively. Airy Shadow, again, Trevor Henry, even when he hasn't won tonight, Randy, he's had them in the right spot to win. That's
he's never been out of position yet.
Right.
I just think he knows this track so well.
He does, and we were talking about it a little earlier, wondering out loud, which driver has probably the most career wins over this particular oval? Trevor immediately comes to mind, had a long run as our top driver here. And it was late in his career when he made the move to Mohawk Park. But you mentioned some other guys that back in the day racked up a lot of wins here in London.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say at one time Dave Wall was considered Mr. London. I was a huge fan of Donnie McElroy's. I thought he was an incredible driver, and I mean, you could probably throw Ray McLean in there too, and maybe even Junior. Who knows? Yeah,
exactly. And Dave Wall, of course, another one that made the move to Greenwood, Mohawk back in the day, and just a great guy too, right? A lot of fun around the driver's room and that type of thing.
Yeah, we always call him Mr. Wall whenever he does come back into the thing. He's always Mr. Wall. He's basically the chairman of the board.
Absolutely. Well put. All right, we will take another quick commercial break. One in the books. We've got 4 more great ones to come here on Camlock Classic Night in London.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com and see what everyone is talking about.
For over 25 years, Tara Hill Stud has worked with partners to help produce champion stallions. We are proud to have bred great racehorses like Fade Out, Shower Play, Precious Delight, and There's a Demon in Me. Our stallions, past and present, have had tremendous success while making a huge impact on racing across North America. Mr. Levesque, Mach 3, Cadabra, Muscle Mass, and Precious Bunny, to name a few. Our stallions' progeny have won major events, including the Hambletonian. Tara Hill Stud are currently standing 9 of the industry's top stallions. Alarm Detector, Control the Moment, Danson Lou, Flanagan Memory, Green Manalishi, He's Watching, Muscle Mass, Resolve, and Sports Writer. Our facility is modern, our staff knowledgeable. Consider Tara Hill Stud when choosing a home for your stallion. Terra Hills Stud, where champions stand and champion yearlings are raised. Log on to terrahills.com.
Ben Turbo pinned down in fourth. Rare Jewel will have to swing 3 wide if he's to defend his Molson Pace title from second over fifth. Silent Swing has pulled the pocket on Tigerama. Eagle Luck is pinned down in 6th. Zuka under urging 7th on the outside, and Action Figure is distanced. Tigerama, Silent Swing is taking him on and staring him down and pokes a nose in front on the last turn. 123, 27 and 4 in the third quarter. Silent Swing looking to conquer Tigerama. They turn for home in the 2008 Molson Pace, and it's Silent Swing, Grand Bend Turbo, Eagle Luck on the far outside. Eagle Luck and Grand Bend Turbo, they're hitting the wire 3 across. It's an upset for the ages, over 25-1 for Eagle Luck and Trevor Henry.
Next to 3-year-old for the Pacers USS grassroots division, and kind of fitting as well, Randy, that a mare needed so much more when she made the transition from Atlantic Canada to London, made her first start here in London in a grassroots division. She was a winner that night of 154 and change, and I think it was a big surprise to the Beatsons who purchased the private landship here. We know what she's gone on to do since then.
Absolutely. You know, she's just been a phenomenal mare. And I'm sure that I'm wrong on this, but the only 2 other mares that I know that beat the Open Boys at, you know, the Woodbine circuit was Dream Fair Eternal and Armbro Feather. And now it's so much more like that. It's tough for a mare to go in against the boys and beat them. And, you know, she's just fantastic. And Mr. Beatson, he's just done an amazing job with her.
Yeah, she really has become the darling of Canadian racing. There's no question about that. And far exceeding any expectations they had. Nice article today in the London Free Press. Ryan Payette did talk to Don Beatson about the mare and, you know, what she's meant to him. And it's amazing. He bought 2 horses out of Atlantic Canada. Monster-in-law made $500,000. He's retired and out in the field. He's got 1 horse racing right now. They have 1 horse, Ken and Cole, the grandson, and Don team up with So Much More. And every week they run down to Mohawk and cash a check for $10,000 or $15,000.
If you were going to have a 1-horse stable, that's the one to have.
That is the one. And she's such a pleasure. We did a feature out there last year, and as low maintenance a horse as you can get. And isn't that always the way that the great ones seem to be that way?
It seems to be that way too, and it's just so refreshing to see a guy like Don Beatson get a mare of that quality, because he's been around a long time and he's bashed away on the B tracks a lot, and you know, it just goes to show you that given the right horse, an unknown trainer can be just as dominant as a known trainer, and I think that that's what he's proved. He's kept her very good for a very long time.
And I mean, what's it like? You know the perspective of a smaller operation, and you get the home run horse. I think immediately of No Sex Please, right, for your family, and getting to campaign him over the course of such a long career and winning those major races everywhere. It's got to be almost surreal at times.
I would think it would. I've never really experienced that part of it other than living vicariously through my brother on Sexy. But yeah, it's just amazing to see these, you know, it gives everybody in the business hope that you don't have to have a lot of big time owners or a lot of money to spend. You know, I mean, some of the small guys can do the same thing. I think my brother paid maybe like around 16 or 17,000 for No Sex Please, and the horse turned that into almost $2 million.
And have you had a chance over the years to, you know, at times with your brother, you know, reflect on the career, and did it give you any insight as to, you know, when it was happening? A lot of people say it was a whirlwind. I didn't really get to enjoy it at the time.
Yeah, well, I think that was kind of part of what with Ronnie. Like, he really did enjoy that horse, and the horse lived out his life at Ronnie's farm afterwards. But I think that that's also true, like that he just didn't maybe get to enjoy it as much as he wanted to, as 10 years later sitting back and looking for the next no sex please.
All right, well, will we get a look at the next So Much More? You know, again, she really started things off here in London in a grassroots division. That was her Ontario debut. I think it was 4 starts later she won the Kin Pace at Clinton. So she certainly showed immediately that she could handle half-mile track racing. Of course, that's where she cut her teeth in Atlantic Canada, and she can win on the big track against the very best in Canada on a weekly basis as well. But a nice young group here. The first one we're getting a look at there, Raptors 1, Nick Gallucci, Miller Farms, and James McDonald. And amazing to see how things have come together for that team. George Miller, long time prominent owner in the sport. He's had many great horses and lots of homebreds, but things came together last year in a way that I don't think anyone expected.
No, I don't either. And I mean, it really couldn't happen to a better person. He had a really tough couple of years, had a lung transplant, ended up having lungs with COVID in them. Then he had to live through that. And I mean, that just goes to show you how tough George Miller is. You know, he just keeps coming back into the business every year. And finally last year was that huge breakout year. Like you said, he's had many great horses in the past, but just to have so many of them come out last year, and now this year what they're all racing back and they're qualifying back, and they all look just as dominant. So George could be in for another big year this year.
Put us in James McDonald's head. Things came together for him last year, but being associated and being the primary driver for a stable like this has to give you such a degree of confidence. There has to be pressure that goes along with that. And at times in your career, you've been in that same position. So what is the mindset of a guy that's driving for a big stable and you know, is expected to win almost every time they go to the track?
Yeah, like, I mean, it's with me, it was a 50-50. 50% was fantastic because you were driving such unbelievable horses. 50% maybe not so much because you were expected to win. In a lot of cases, the second and a third wasn't good enough. So there is a lot of pressure, but James is the type of person that it just doesn't seem like the pressure really gets to him that bad. He's able just to kind of laugh it off and just go through life the way that he goes through life, which is kind of happy-go-lucky, which I kind of find with all the McDonald brothers are the same.
You're right. Yeah, they're wired a little bit differently for the most part.
I'm half thinking that maybe Fred McDonald doesn't deserve the Cam Fellow Award for meritorious service to the sport.
I'm going to give Gail all the credit there.
Okay.
And no offense, Freddie, if you're watching tonight. Of course, everybody loves Freddie, and everybody knows him well. And yeah, they are quite a family. They're quite a clan. You know, they all have their unique personalities. They're all big personalities and unique talents. It's a great way to put it. There's Emma Christoforou, daughter of Chris Christoforou, one of your old buddies and competitors.
Yes.
You guys would have had some fierce battles over the year.
Oh yeah, he was a lot of fun. Great driver. You know, I think he won this race 2 years in a row with State Treasure, didn't he?
Well, you kicked off the three-peat, and then he won the next 2 years.
There you go.
And to this day, the most impressive effort I've seen on this track was, I think it was the second year he won it, where he made the miscue at the start from post one, got away last, came all the way back and beat Foiled again.
That was a really unbelievable race. I remember watching that from Mohawk. I thought he had no shot when he made the break. It's just such a tough track to make up that ground, and it was a deep field of horses. I never expected him to come back on and do what he did, but he was a very speedy horse, and he wanted to win. And that's the biggest thing with champions is they need to have to win, and he was that kind of a horse.
Yeah, you know, and he won every different way you could in those 3 wins. The year you won it, I know you got him a beautiful second over trip, and he got there. The big comeback in year 2, and then in year 3, first over against All Bets Off, who had the rail, got control of the race easily and looked like he was unbeatable coming in. State Treasure went toe-to-toe with him and got him in the late stages. So he showed his versatility, obviously his will to win, as you mentioned, pretty incredible. And for Ian Moore, 3 training wins in this marquee event, and we'll see him with 2 starters this year. tattoo artist, of course, well known to folks in Ontario, and a new recruit to the barn called Twin Bee Tough Enough. But let's get back to the field here and talk these horses. Ribbon Ridge there. We're getting a look at that one with Anthony Hahn in the driver's seat. Anthony, another one of those guys that kind of quietly has had a nice career in the driver's seat here in Ontario.
Absolutely, and he's a really hard worker. He's stabled at Classy Lane, and he's always out on the track early. He's one of the last ones to come off the track. He's always hustling, always going. I think one of his original startups in when he moved to Ontario here was Stu Ferlot. He worked for Stu Ferlot, who is in the Hall of Fame. I've drove for Stu Ferlot, knew Stu Ferlot quite well, and he was an amazing horseman, and I think Anthony picked a lot of this up. But whatever it comes down to, his work ethic is second to none.
Yeah, that's when I would have first met Anthony, working for Stu, and they had the good colts swinging away, I think, that year in the NA Cup. And Friday Dean, of course, a pupil of Stu as well. And both he and Anthony have had really good careers. Again, I'm going to give some credit, I think, to Meg, though, his better half. Probably does a lot of the work there behind the scenes for that operation. And she's worked with some top shelf trainers herself.
Yes, for sure. And she's had top horses given to her, sent up to her by American trainers. There's really no bigger trainer down there right now than Nifty Norman. And he sends his horses to Meg Crone and Anthony Hahn. And I mean, that's amazing.
All right, we are getting set to go here momentarily with another OSS Grassroots division. We were talking about Randy's history in the Camlock Classic, winning with State Treasurer, and we gave it away. He's one half of our trivia question tonight, one half of the answer. Only 2 horses to three-peat in the event. We kind of relived his 3 victories. I want to ask you folks joining us tonight, which of the 3, for those who were able to see all 3 wins by State Treasurer, which of the 3 was the most impressive and why? And it's always interesting to go back and relive some of those classics from yesteryear. Getting a look at the field here with Raptors 1 from Post 1. We'll see if Galucci McDonald can come right back. If you were going to have a look at another one in here, Randy, to maybe knock off the heavy favorite, who would it be?
I kind of like the trailer. Where are we expat? Another sports rider. We've seen the sports riders race well tonight. I'm thinking that maybe we might see a sports rider race well later on in the card, or I'm hoping anyway. But I really like this one. He's a good follower. He seems he's got good gate speed. If he does have to race from off the pace, she also races well that way too. So she's going to be following Raptors 1 with the rail. I'm not sure if Raptors 1's going to be able to get him right out of there hard, but if she doesn't, he can always move out onto the 2 horses back, and she looks like she does have some gate speed. So it looks to me like Where Are We X-Pac's got some different ways to race, versatile horse, and she's shown where she's raced over Hanover and raced well. That's Western is no tighter than Hanover. So, I mean, if she can get over Hanover, I'm sure the Western Fair will be no problem for her at all.
And we're going to see Jeff Gillis and Jordan Stratton team up here. They send out Fun at the Beach later tonight in the Camlock Classic. He won the Borgata final, the lucrative Borgata final, a few weeks back at Yonkers. The biggest win of his career to date, post 4 tonight. But we get Gillis and Stratton teaming up here with Addison Sealster. Jeff owns this one by himself. Didn't hit the board in 4 last year. Was 0 for 2 in that regard this year. Had a break on April 21st. So things really weren't pointing in the direction of this one. But it was a barn change. It was the first start for Gillis last time out at Woodbine. Not sure if he made changes or found something with the filly, but that was a marked improvement, I think, in performance.
Yeah, well, one change that I do see is that he put him on the Lasix program, or put her on the Lasix program, and really showed that maybe that helped a lot. She paced a back half in 56 seconds last week, and she doesn't really show anything like that prior, so maybe he latched on to the fact that maybe she wasn't... she was bleeding a little bit, and he moved her on to Lasix, and she seems to have responded.
And obviously thought enough of her to give her a shot here in this OSS Grassroots division. Race 8, the starting gate is rolling. And with the description, here's Sugar Doyle.
Creme Delight, Motivation, Terror Beach, Addison Sealster, Ribbon Ridge, back tearing it, Warwi Expat, 1/8 of a mile from the start. Picking up speed, here they come. They're rough. Raptors won with that rail advantage to get out there and on top, and plugged in from the back there. Off stride went the 2. Mary Keep On Burning and scattered a few. But they're all still up and all still in it. The front 2 with early separation being Raptors 1, and from the trailing spot, Warwi Expat. They're 1-2 as they make their way to the quarter mile. It's going to be Creme Delight to race from 3rd. Motivation looks at it from 4th. Terror Beach is 5th best away. Coming through to be 6th was Addison Sealster. Settled down back pacing after the first turn miscue. Mary Keep On Burning. And the trailer on the inside, a Ribbon Ridge. 28-2. Comfortable opening quarter mile speed here for the odds-on fave. Raptors 1, and at 10-1, Warwi Expat will enjoy this 2-hole ride. Long shot, Creme Delight looks at it from 3rd. It's Motivation closing up at 8-5 to race from 4th. A gap of 5 or 6 lengths to Terror Beach, who's a fumbly gated outside and around that. Addison Sealster next to last, Ribbon Ridge. And the trailer continues to be Mary Keep On Burning. 57-3 halftime. Raptors 1 on top. 2nd best and staying with Warwi Expat. Continuing 3rd, though, being chased up at that Creme Delight. A peek to the outside and 4th. There goes Motivation. Motivation motivated here by Waugh as they head on over to 3/4. Raptors 1 there in 1:26. They were 28-2 through the 3rd. Raptors 1 into the final turn. Warwi Expat has been staying with, and a little steppy on the outside in 3rd, and now 4th went Motivation from the pocket. Warwi Expat and Jody up and against Raptors 1 into the stretch. Raptors 1 finding more. Warwi Expat trying to make it happen. It won't though. It's Raptors 1, James McDonald and Galucci in again for Ontario Sire Stakes action. Warwi Expat was 2nd. Creme Delight finishing 3rd. Motivation 4th. 154-4.
$154-4. That is a big mile tonight. Big strapping filly, and she was heavily favored, and she fit the bill. Your horse, Randy, got a nice trip and made it interesting.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Raptors 1 raced fantastic, and there's no doubt to me that Jody did really, really good staying close to the rail horse and bringing up that 2nd. But if I'm any trainer in this race, or if I'm any owner in this race, the guy that I'm the most happy with is Bobby McClure, because that could have been a mess going into the first turn. And even instead of ducking to the outside around Trevor when he run, he makes a left-hand turn directly down into the rail, drops in 3rd, and gets a great trip and ends up finishing 3rd. He could have been wiped out into the first turn, made an unbelievable move to the inside to avoid all that, and ends up with a good 3rd out of it there. I mean, that was a really, really great drive, and we just had a race going 54-4.
Exactly.
Track's getting quicker.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're right on all counts. And that's why it's nice having not only the best horses in Canada, some of the best drivers here tonight as well. Time for another commercial break. We'll be back to find out how they sort things out in that first turn and get the prices for race 8 when we come back. Seconds. Moderate tempo here, and AP's Moneymaker suddenly backing through the field. Something awry with AP's Moneymaker as the field enters the backstretch. Dream Fair Eternal, the one to try and track down. Arch Diva now moving up to challenge on the outside, just a half length off in 2nd. Lady Latte getting a sweet trip now on the inside 3rd. Back there 4th, Art Imitates Life. Call Me Yours is 5th. 6th is Sammy Sid. 3/4, 126-2. Dream Fair Eternal trying to finish it off here. Leads to the top of the stretch. Arts Diva continues to dig on the outside. Is up to the wheel in 2nd. Lady Latte trying to keep tabs in 3rd. They turn for home. Dream Fair Eternal. Arts Diva in pursuit on the outside. Just can't get by the wheel. Dream Fair Eternal. She's done it again. She is the pacing queen of the older division. 154-3. And a past edition of the Forest City Pace Dream Fair Eternal, the winner that year. Now, Randy, I've got to ask you, you were the regular driver of her throughout most of her career, but you weren't here that night. What was the circumstance?
I had pneumonia.
Oh, wow.
It was the only thing that could keep me away from her.
I was going to say, that must have been
Oh, it was horrible.
tough.
It really was. It was a tough phone call to make, and it was hard. But the only thing that worked out good about it was I knew Chris was down here for another race the same night. So when I talked to Pat and to John Lammers, I said to them, Chris is there. Like, he can get her around, no problem. He's drove in lots of big money races. And they did use Chris, and he did win with her. So that kind of made me feel good, as bad as I was feeling.
And now to get that call in 2022, it's liable to be, I've got COVID, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Boy, we shouldn't even bring that up. We've heard enough of that over the last couple of years, and that's why this race didn't happen the last 2 years. So it's wonderful to see the return of the Camlock Classic, and of course this entire program of racing. Traditionally, the City of London finals happen this night. There's usually Ontario Sire Stakes and a wonderful card top to bottom. This year, no exception. So what a way to welcome the event back. They, I believe, are having a look at racing action in the first turn, and we've got some of the competitors in this year's Camluck are out warming up behind us as well. So the buzz is building. You can really notice it here, Randy, and we've been marveling at these races, the volumes rising as they hit three quarters and all the way to the finish.
The fans are into it. Just wanted to bring one other thing up as Raptors 1 is walking off the racetrack right now.
Oh, we're gonna head over to Rob. We'll get to that
Sounds
story
good.
in a second.
About the inquiry there. Any concern or worry with that?
No, she heard Jody edge out, and she tried to bolt and just started in on me a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it was just one or maybe two pylons. I'm pretty confident. I haven't had a chance to see it, but that's what it felt like on track. So, no, not really.
And with this horse in particular, Raptors 1, fifth start of her career, how important is it for a horse like her to kind of get that education?
Yeah, big time. I've been trying to teach her and race her off the pace, and last week it just didn't work out at all. But tonight, I got the rail on a half-mile track. That's when you got to go. So the gate opened, and she was more than willing. So when she made front, it was I got to rate her a little bit. I was pretty confident that she'd be strong.
And 2 wins tonight, obviously for the connections of yourself, Gallucci, and Millard Farms. The other one being Velvet Stinger. Not the prettiest going horse out there. I mean, just wondering what it's like to be in the driver's seat on one like that.
Just kind of hold on. I know the horse. I've driven her every start of her life, or maybe I didn't once at 2, but she can really go good in the turns, and she struggles in the straightaways. So I thought she would be good here, but then I didn't get off the gate very good, and I was confident if they raced a little bit. She's got such a good kick to her. As long as I could keep her in the same area code as them, that she would give me a good run. And I moved her 3 deep in the last turn. She just really kicked into gear. People are saying, oh, she's really sloppy down the lane, but that's just anyone that's watched her starts, that's her.
And, looking ahead now in the 2, big races, the Forest City, you've got so much more. And, of course, in the Camlock Classic, Tattoo Artist, in with a good chance in both of those. Just a quick thought on both of those horses?
Yeah, so much more. I mean, I think it would be, I don't think there's a person in the grandstand not cheering for her tonight. Hometown connections. She's just an absolute warrior. There's no better way to put it. She puts it all on the line every time she races. She's got a bad post tonight, 6-hole, in with such a deep field of mares. She's got her work cut out for her, but anyone that's ever watched her race, she's up for it. So some kind of a trip, if I can find something, I am really confident in the big girl. And Tattoo Artist, he's just crazy fast, high speeds. So I don't know what to expect. The first 8th will likely be hot, but we'll just see what transpires and see what we have to do and play it by ear.
Thanks, James. Good luck in those 2 and the rest of the way through the car. James McDonald, winning driver aboard Raptors 1 in a division of the OSS Grassroots for 3-year-old fillies.
Great to hear from James, and we talk about Nick Gallucci, the trainer, gets the accolades for the barn doing so well, but it takes a great team behind him, right?
Absolutely, and I just noticed when Raptors 1 was walking back off the track, I noticed who was walking her off the track, and that guy's name is Dave Tyrell. And I mean, he is a vicious, good horseman. You know, he's had his own stable, won stake races out of his own stable, and he was training this winter a little bit for Team Fine, and now he's back in the Gallucci fold, and I just think he's an amazing horseman that, you know, deserves a huge pat on the back.
Yeah, good horseman in his own right, so, you know, he would be a very important piece to that operation. Well, we've got some presentations that didn't happen last year happening tonight. The Johnson and Lampman Cup Awards for both 2020 and 2021. Top trainer and driver, respectively, in the Ontario Sire Stakes. Sean Stacey, Bob McClure from 2 years ago, and James McDonald and Greg McNair. Familiar faces when it comes to these awards, Randy. Not the first time we've seen these gentlemen take home that hard.
No, who's the guy presenting the awards? First time I've seen him.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He
looks like he might have been a good catch driver.
He looked like he used to probably sit in the bike at one time there, but it's been a while since I've seen him. I wonder, is he still active?
Do you think he's in game shape? It's hard to say.
We'll find out in about a month.
And yeah, a couple of great horsemen there, right? Sean Stacey, of course, his father Mark, top horseman in the province for years, and Greg McNair. Just kind of quietly has had an amazing career.
Yeah, quietly finding himself going to probably one day be in the Horse Racing Hall of Fame.
All right, getting a shot inside our paddock location again. And yeah, there's the people that make it all happen, the hardworking caretakers. And this is crunch time in the paddock as we get toward our bigger races here this evening. And there we go. We've got the popular T-shirt tosses happening, and a lively crowd making their way out there. And there's James. James got a big arm on him. I think he played some ball in his day and comes from a family of great baseball and softball players.
Yeah, I think James could probably put that T-shirt on a tee and smack it about 300 yards. That's from what I understand, too. They say he's quite a golfer.
Jake McDonald, our marketing manager at the Raceway, but he's here all of the big nights or all the big events here at Western Fair District doing the photography. And you'll see the galleries he'll have posted later on tonight on the Raceway social media feeds. And a wonderful photographer. And there's Greg, Curly, Dustin talk about familiar faces at this oval, and a guy that's won a lot of races here over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been around a long time and really knows his stuff. Had a great trotter a few years ago, and I think it was Arva Crestagogo.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. And he raced him right up to the Maple Leaf Trot. You know, again, another case of a very good horseman getting a very good horse and knew exactly what to do with it and how to manage it.
And wife Doreen, daughter Christy, they are both breast cancer survivors, and they have their annual event here. Speaking of the Raceway, every year Harness the Hope now has become a staple. I believe it's been maybe 13 or 14 years now for the event that just grows in stature. They do an amazing amount of work putting that together every year, and almost from the time one finishes till the next year, they're working on it and planning and making it bigger and better. So wonderful family, and you know, that's what it's all about. We've talked about it many times on these broadcasts.
It's amazing how in horse racing, harness racing, however you want to put it, how much work goes into these horses that a person has to work, you know, 12, 13, 14-hour days is just not, that's common. But yet they still find the time to put together these huge charity drives and do much for the business and for people outside the business. It's just, it's really nice to see.
For sure. And it is nice to see such a wonderful crowd on track as we get closer to the main event tonight, the Camlock Classic. Before that, we've got a preferred trot. This one is going to be a lot of fun. Then the Forest City Pace, race number 10, where we'll see so much more. Two-time Canadian Pacing Mare of the Year, the Camlock Classic, the main event over in race number 11. Hope you're enjoying the coverage here this evening, and we're seeing people jumping on here as the night wears on our different social feeds, and as always, would love to hear from you in the chat. and always interesting to find out where people are tuning in from. Let's take a quick look at the field page for this upcoming 9th. We've got a look at the horses in our paddock location. Preferred trotters this time around, and a nice mix of horses that race here primarily, but several invaders from Woodbine Mohawk Park, and a tricky transition for trotters to get switch from the big track to the half miler.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's a very big transition because, again, it's not necessarily, it's a fast half mile. There's no doubt about that. But there's some tight turns in that first, going into that first one at a 27-second quarter. You know, they can kind of bop around and bounce around that turn pretty good. So it'll be an interesting transition for some of these horses, but some of them, like a horse like Esquire's done his last bit of racing at Woodbine, his last 4 starts, but before that he was here, so he knows this track. He gets around this track, and hopefully he can come up with a big mile tonight.
Now I've got to ask you, did you happen to watch qualifiers today or catch the results from Woodbine Mohawk Park?
A few of them, but not them all.
Okay, well, our friend J.D. Varnell had a question for you. He wanted to know what horse or horses impressed you earlier this morning qualifying. Beach Glass was a big winner. Warrawee Vital, Lala Shadow finished second. So if you had a chance to see them, a comment on that. But if not, which of those are you maybe really looking forward to seeing back in action this year?
Well, they're all really nice horses. It's good to see them all. But I am kind of interested in seeing where Beach Glass is going to go. I'm a big Brent McGrath fan. You know, I think he's done great things for the business with Some Beach Somewhere. Some Beach Somewhere did great things for Brent McGrath, but Brent McGrath did also great things for that horse. I'd like to see him get another one. I think he's great for the business, and it would be nice to see him and Paul hook up again and campaign another champion. So I guess he would be the one that I'm looking forward to.
And as a driver, I've heard different guys say this. I'm sure you're the same, that, would have been a real treat to get to sit behind him in a race.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been fantastic, it really. But, I mean, I bet you there's a lot of drivers out there that are saying the same thing about Sandpail. It would have been great to sit behind Sandpail. They were both amazing horses, fantastic for Canadian horse racing, both of them. One a trotter, one a pacer. And again, like I said, I just can't say enough for the way McGrath managed that horse, kept him on his game. I mean, he was beat once in his life. That's goes to say a lot about Brent McGrath.
For sure. And we'll say hi to Brent if he happens to be tuning in tonight. We've got a lot of viewers on the East Coast watching. Hi to everybody tuning in there. Now, Randy, when I'm on social media, I see some interesting videos. I saw an interesting one of you the other day in a field, I think picking rocks or digging a big rock in the middle of a paddock. And I just had to ask what the story was behind that.
Well, I'm working for Casey Coleman right now, and she's just moved up with her horses to a Shamrock Training Center. We had 3 paddocks. One hadn't been used over the winter, and there was a lot of rocks in it, and she didn't want to use that paddock, like turn her horses out in the paddock, which I don't blame her. So I think basically Casey looked up and down the barn and looked at me and basically told me that she figured that that's about what good my hands were. Only good for anymore was to go and pick rocks, so I went and picked rocks.
Well, there you go. So the pay must be exceptional.
Oh,
to get
yeah.
you to go out and do that.
I got to keep every one of them.
And that must be fun, working with Casey. And I'm sure she picks your brain a bit on horses, and likes to talk to you, about how certain horse is going, that type of thing.
Yeah, she's really easy to work for that way, and she's really easy to work for, period. But yeah, she does. She likes to banter it around. She likes to throw ideas around, but it's all going to come down onto Casey. She's formulated her own 20-year career. I'm just kind of hanging around to see if I can pick up some things off of Casey.
And very interesting too, right? That the home run horse, Line Drive Hanover. She comes back and she's got him in the barn of Anthony Beaton, who's done a wonderful job. Anthony worked for Casey in the past, and just saying, you know what, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Keep on going, Anthony. And I'm sure she'd be happy to have him there all year if he keeps winning like he is.
Absolutely, and the thing is we both know Anthony Beaton's spent a lot of time in the Casey Coleman barn working for her. So technically, in a way, it's almost a lateral move because they're a lot alike the way that they train horses. So again, I agree with her. You know, if it's not broke, why fix it?
All right, and she's giving you kudos for your rock picking. Casey's joined us and says you're the best ever. So I think you've got a permanent gig there.
Read the second part of the text. Hey, best ever, all right. Best ever rock picker.
Well, there you go. Nice to have Casey watching in tonight and everyone else as we get a look at the trotters just moments before they leave our paddock location for race number 9. And nice view inside our paddock. We're pretty proud of the facility we have here, one of the nicer race paddocks you'd see in the province, and our folks over there do a great job, and our track crew, second to none. We've got Doug and Alex Lilly, the dream team, working on our track here this year, and they are absolutely meticulous. And you know, the preparation they had with rain in the forecast today, they had the track ready to handle that. And as we've seen here from the big downpour earlier and the way it is now, that worked out well.
Absolutely. I mean, the miles are starting to go quicker and quicker as we go on, and you don't see any mud or anything on the horses or the drivers after the races. You know, it's so hard to work on racetracks in Canada because we get such a variety of weather. It can change so quickly, and I just think over the last few years, Western Fair's racetrack has just become quicker, better than it's ever been before, you know, and tonight I think that they've done a great job, and hopefully if the rain holds off, we're going to see the results come the last race.
All right, now this isn't a very nice comment. Jason Libby.
Oh, no.
They called you Stonehands.
Yeah.
And all the big wins you got for him over the years.
I think they're just being honest. I think all the honest comments are coming out now. I think before there used to be a lot of shellac and that, but I think the real honest ones are coming out now.
That's obviously the new nickname that's going to stick for Randy. So I apologize for bringing it up in advance. All right, we're just moments away. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll meet the field for that preferred trot 3 races away from the 2022 Camlock Classic in London.
By now, you know the name COSA-TV, an industry leader producing unique, high-quality digital content promoting harness racing in Ontario. Features, virtual programming, live events, and more. COSA-TV has it covered. Follow our social media channels and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to view the latest content. And if you're looking to bet your favorite Ontario track, check out hpibet.com. COSA-TV, taking Ontario racing global.
3/8 to go in the 2010 pace, and Jamieson can't wait on cover. He's 3 wide now with Hypnotic Blue Chip, but he's chasing a pace that is quickening into the backstretch. Foiled again, and won the West, stealing the show to this point. Down inside Annie's Western Card. Hypnotic Blue Chip picks up last turn cover. 4th on the outside as Won the West pulls pocket on his stablemate. 123 3 3/4. They're on the final turn. Foiled again, still in front. Won the West is coming. Hypnotic Blue Chip rolled off stride. Down inside Annie's Western Card waiting for room. And Stonebridge Terror's getting out late. Foiled again, keeping Won the West at bay. But he's coming again. Stonebridge Terror on the far outside. A great finish in the base. Stonebridge Terror and Won the West in 1:52.
And boy, that was a great one. Won the West 2010. The voice of Pete Kite calling the action. And a win for Ron Burke, who's won this race many times. And look at that crowd assembling on the patio.
Isn't that nice?
That is a fun place to be, Randy. I can tell you the beer bins are there, the food trucks, live entertainment, and great horse racing. What else would you want?
There's nothing better than looking at a racetrack and seeing the railbirds, because I always like thinking to myself there, what are they talking about? Is it all horse racing, other stuff or whatever? You know, it's nice. It's nice to see so many people back out here again.
All right, we're going to say hi to Todd Gimblett. Todd tuning in from our paddock location tonight. He's watching from over there online. Hi to Todd. And again, hello to everybody watching online tonight, both online and on track. Nice on track crowd tonight. Great atmosphere, and it is fantastic to see. We'll have another look at the field page for the upcoming 9th race. Trotters, I believe they're exiting our Paddock location. And Randy, you've got a top selection for us.
Well, this is a really tough field to handicap. There's so many that you could throw on, and you can't do that. So anyway, I went with the 2-horse Esquire. I mean, impeccably bred Cadabra out of the Great Earl of My Dreams. And he's had a fantastic career, almost $300,000 made, 28 lifetime wins. He knows how to win. He's raced over this track before. He's got an inside post. I love his driver, Louis Waugh. I think he's got a real good shot in here, but there's just so many of them. You know, Aussie Lover also looks good to me coming out of the Gord Remen stable.
Okay, I'm hearing that Jamie McDonald is standing by with another special guest. Jamie?
Thanks, Greg. We're here in the paddock here with James McDonald, just coming off of a win, so fresh legs here for the next race.
Yeah, you know, it's been a good day. I got off to a terrible start, made 3 breaks in a row, but I've recovered nicely, a couple wins and some seconds, so.
That's all we can ask for.
That is definitely all you can ask for.
Next up, you have, leaving from post position 6, Phoenix. You connected with this horse about a month ago over at Mohawk. What can you tell us about him?
Well, I drove him pretty bad that night. I think I was parked the whole mile, or if I was in, it was for maybe a step. So hoping for maybe a little better driving performance. But the horse, he's a big, strong horse. Trot's good. He does get in the turns a bit, so I might have to be careful with him. But if he trots, which I think he will, then he should be a real player in here.
Ever nervous coming from a big track to a smaller track with the horses?
Yeah, big time. Especially a horse like him that I have lost him behind the gate at Mohawk before, but I think he is trotting better now, and you know, Richard's such a top trainer. He'll have the horse, I'm sure, ready to go tonight.
And we're just moments from leaving the paddock, so I'll let you get to him.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, Jamie. James McDonald, and you know, he said it himself. There's kind of been no in between with him tonight. The night did start off, and we forget about that now. It was a disastrous beginning.
I
drive,
missed that part.
Yeah, all 3 horses he drove early in the night made breaks, but then it's turned around.
Yeah, for sure. That's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're hot and sometimes you're cold.
And you were telling me off camera that you know, you really think the role he's on right now is going to last.
I hope it does, because I really think that the sport of harness racing in Canada needs James McDonald. And they always need their top drivers, you know, but James is a little different than some of the guys that have come along in the past. You know, he's got a fantastic personality. He's very happy-go-lucky, and he drives a horse so smooth. Like, sometimes I think to myself there that somehow or another Condren's come out of retirement and climbed into James's suit or something, you know, because that's what he looks like, you know. He's very confident right now. He's very good at what he does. He's getting the best horses to drive, and there's a reason for that. Is because he's just driving so lights out right now.
And you mentioned Steve Condren, and while we've got you here, I want to ask you, you know, of that generation and the guys you drove against, and it was such a deep, talented group, and boy, it was the big time if you drove at Greenwood Mohawk on a regular basis. So, you know, who were the upper echelon guys, the guys that you really sort of idolized when you were coming up and just that step behind them?
I would like obviously Brownie and Steve, like they basically own the place for a long time, you know, and they were amazing guys. Both were, you know, like Steve was a leading driver and had his own kind of a personality. Doug was a leading driver and was probably one of the most humblest catch drivers that I've ever been around. That was the top catch driver. Dave Wall was fantastic. Bill Gale had a mind on him that was amazing. Like, he could think a race and strategize a race while in the race, probably as good as anybody I've ever saw. You know, it was just, they were an amazing bunch. Joe Houdon was tough to drive against, you know. Trevor Ritchie was amazing. You know, you could watch him do things on trotters that I'm not sure if anybody else at that time had the ability with the trotters that he had. So you could pick up these things from these guys. Rick Zieron was fantastic when he showed up on the circuit. You know, you could learn so much from these guys. And like you said, they were deep. It was a deep drivers colony at that time.
And Trevor Ritchie, you mentioned him, and would have started his career here in London.
Right.
One of many great horsemen that started here. You know, John Campbell comes from nearby Ailsa Craig, of course, and names like the Herberts and the Kerrs and the list goes on. Copus, exactly. You know, and I think Trevor Ritchie, I think back to the Hambo win with Yankee Paco, and, you know, the sport's biggest race, $1 million, and he measures it by a half a length and never moves a muscle. I couldn't believe how cool he could be in that situation.
Well, that was the thing about Trevor that I always found with him too, and my own opinion, when he was given the Trot and Trevor moniker, he deserved that moniker because Trevor had a certain way to ride behind a trotter where his body would almost move in sync with the trotter. So he was never working against that trotter. He almost, like, his body would move to the way that horse was trotting. And the biggest thing about Trevor that I started to notice, and I think that maybe it got overlooked in his career, he won a lot of big races with trotters, but I think the thing that stood out to me was he made very few miscues with trotters. Very rarely a trotter would make a break on him. And it was because I just found that he had a certain way that his body would move at the same way that trotting horse would move. And not everybody did it that way. He stood out that way, and I think that he deserved to be Trot and Trev because I really do think that he was absolutely phenomenal sitting behind a trotter.
Yeah, and I don't think too many would argue with that for sure. And, you know,
and Pacers too. He was great with Pacers
Absolutely.
when he was a catch driver, but his way with trotters was just, it was above and beyond, in my opinion.
And I think later in his career, if I'm not mistaken, he concentrated more on trotters because he didn't, he wasn't able to take on the full workload of driving a full lineup every night due to, I think, back issues, that type of thing.
Right.
But you're right, success with the Pacers, and I remember the night he won 3 Breeders' Crown Finals in a single night at Mohawk.
Amazing driver.
Racetrack.
Just he was built to be a driver, and he had the mind for a driver. Everything about him pointed towards driving, because he certainly wasn't going to do any work in the barn in the morning. Hope he's watching.
If I recall, yes, he I don't think came from a racing family, and someone out there watching might, maybe I'm telling the story wrong, but I believe as a young kid he just, you know, lived near the track here,
yes.
I believe, and used to sneak under the fence. And
he was working for Bill Herbert, I think.
Okay, just came and started hanging around the track, and would sort of sneak in, and then got to know a couple of people, and then caught the bug, and the rest is history. And fortunately, he was a natural and made an amazing career for himself out of harness racing. There's the man of the hour. It started off as the Trevor Henry show tonight. He swept the early pick 5. It seems like a while ago now, and it was before we came on camera, but it's now James McDonald with the late momentum. And do you think it's going to be one of those gentlemen standing in the winner's circle later tonight in the Camlock, or someone else?
Well, I mean, my pick is going to go with Louis Waugh with Jimmy Freight. So I'm kind of hoping that he gets there, and he's the one standing in there. But they both have fantastic horses. I mean, James has Tattoo Artist, and Trevor's got the trailer with This Is the Plan, and he's following a really, you know, some decent horses on the inside. So anything can go on here. One thing about these guys is that they're all very, very talented. So as long as the horse shows up in a talented mode, then these guys will get the job done. They're very, very good group of drivers.
And for those watching online tonight, I think it's time to start getting some picks from you folks. Let us know who your selection is later tonight in both the Forest City Pace and the Camlock Classic, our 2 marquee events still to come. But before that, the preferred trotters here in race number 9. Excellent tilt. A field of 8 for $15,000. This one sponsored by Princeton Farms. And the favorite on the board continues to be Esquire. Randy likes this one, the top selection, a 5 for 16 record this year come again. 2 doors down, Cool Muscle, post 4, 2-1. And I'm going to give some love to the rail horse, J-Port High Class, the local horse, a hard hitter. If he can take advantage of post 1 and get some early position, a win might be a stretch, but I think a top 3 consideration here isn't out of reach for J-Port High Class. Nice looking field of trotters assembling for the 9th. Here's Sugar with the race call.
I can tell you right now, number 6, Phoenix, off stride behind the gate. 3-1 shot, number 6, Phoenix, off stride behind the gate. Here they come. They're off from the outside. Cena Magician. Garrett Rooney sending from the center. Cool Muscle. And down towards the inside, Esquire. Esquire in full flight as they go around that opening turn. Cena Magician from the outside. Mounting a challenge here in the early going at 30-1. Cena Magician found the big 2-hole ride for Garrett Rooney. So it's going to be the 9-5 second choice ahead of one of the longest shots on the board here. Cena Magician at 30-1 will follow Esquire through a quarter mile. It was quick, 27-3. Cool Muscle closed up here at even money to race from 3rd. It's Bastiano looking at it from 4th. A quick move on the outside. Now into 5th goes Aussie Lover. Arrakis is next in line to be 6th. 7th is J-Port High Class, and well back and out of it, Phoenix. Down in front of us, they travel. Esquire. Esquire on top. Second best now, Cool Muscle. Right to the wheel of the leader, Cena Magician still up there in the top 3. Aussie Lover towed up into it, though he's gapping slightly on the cover 4th. Buried 5th for Bastiano. Setting it up 3rd over was Arrakis. And then J-Port High Class, 57-3 halftime. Nice breather of 30 seconds flat through the second frame. Esquire and Cool Muscle, these two eyeballing each other. Cool Muscle went by. Jody sending Cool Muscle on by 3/4, 126-1. And now it's a clear lead. Cool Muscle on top by a length and a half. Esquire is all alone trotting from a second. 3 wide on the outside. Arrakis has moved into 3rd. Aussie Lover sticking around. Cena Magician along the inside 5th. J-Port High Class with some late trot. Cool Muscle is almost there. Cool Muscle on top by 2. Esquire second best tonight. It's Cool Muscle. Jameson on board for the haters. Second best was Esquire. Then Arrakis. It appeared to be J-Port High Class in for 4th. 156-1. It was Cool Muscle in the Princeton Farms Preferred.
Double J gets on the board tonight, guiding Cool Muscle to a confident first over victory. His first and just his second start of the season. A horse that owns a fast 153-1 mark taken last year at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And a winning move coming in the 3rd quarter. 56-1, Randy. That's a good time for this group of trotters, suggesting to me that the track's going to be pretty fast, and it might give these horses in the next couple of races a shot at those track records.
Absolutely. I mean, it does seem like the track's getting a little bit quicker, and it hasn't gotten cool like too bad. It's just a little it's just kind of nice out right now. So it is all going to depend on how those horses are going to set up in that race. How aggressive are they going to be? Because if you want track records, you're going to have a lot of aggressiveness to do it.
All right, and this one co-owned and trained by Jessica Hayter. And this guy, again, making just his second start of the campaign. So been a while away from the racetrack. He was scratch sick in November and didn't resurface until May. Qualified and then had the one start here in London last time out. So that really appeared to set him up well for tonight.
Yeah, and I'm Jessica Hayter. She's Eddie Hayter's significant other, and as far as people that I drove for over my career, he was also a very, very sharp guy. Knows horse racing up and down, and always had his horses ready to race. And it doesn't surprise me that he's still doing so well.
And that mile just a fifth of a second off the track record for aged geldings.
And he really wasn't stressed on the end of it. If somebody was to maybe tackle him a little bit, give him a little bit of a roll, maybe we could have got that extra fifth of a second out of him.
Absolutely. Big mile. Very impressive for Cool Muscle. And just for interest's sake, when you talk track records, our track pacing record for mares, 152.4 for Camille back in 2012.
Ooh.
I'm going to make a prediction. I think that's gone tonight.
I do too.
Based on
I agree.
the field we have.
It's certainly
we'll
within
see.
reach.
And our overall track record for pacing geldings, Rock and Ron, 50-1 in his win in the Camlock. And Evening of Pleasure, who had the big, one of the biggest upsets in the history of the event, 150-3, the track record for age pacing horses. So, yeah, it could certainly threaten each of those tonight. We have not had a sub 150 winner here in London. I think we've got the horsepower to do it tonight. It's just a question of can they do it under track and weather conditions tonight. It appears we're going to head over trackside and catch up with winning driver Jody Jamieson. He is standing by with our colleague Rob Reed Jr.
Muscle in the Princeton Farms Preferred Trot. Listen, so you were really confident with this one tonight. And I got to say that, of all the drivers that, exude confidence in horses, when you like one, they typically find the winner's circle. Tell me about that.
Well, I just thought this horse tonight was the best in the race. I think he's got the most class. I mean, he shows lines right in the preferred there in his last 6 down at Mohawk. So I just wanted to make sure I give him a clean trip, nobody in front of me sort of thing. And he did the rest. He just won pretty handily.
We've got obviously the 2 big races coming up, and you're in both of them and with a shot in each of those contests. How important is it to have multiple drives throughout the night to get a feeling of how the track is playing?
I think it's really important. I think Jordan Stratton got a drive earlier. I don't think he's driven here before, at least not tonight. And he got a little lay of the land, and the rest of us been going all night. So I think it's a good thing to get accustomed to the track, see how the track's playing, see what's happening out on the racetrack. So and it gives you a little, you're a little more relaxed when you go to the gate in the big one.
So in the Forest City Pace, you've got the barn dogs watching. You get to work from the pole position. One that has not found the winner's circle yet this year, but it's not for lack of strong efforts. What do you think your chances are?
I think she's got a great chance. Her first start back, or second start back, she was chasing down so much more down by the wire. And last week she went a huge trip on her own and pulled the 2-hole early, and she had to do a lot more work than the winner. With the rail, I'm not sure how much of an advantage the rail is here tonight, but she's got the rail. I got the shortest distance to go around, and we're going to see what happens.
Okay, and in the Camluck Classic, not the best post to work from, but a pretty solid horse in Ocean Rock. What would the game plan be, and what are the chances?
Well, if I told you the game plan, I'd have to kill you, so I can't tell you the game plan. But listen, the horse won the Breeders' Crown last year at the Meadowlands for Danny Noble and his team. He gave me a few tidbits of information about the horse. The horse has warmed up great, according to Bo and Tisha. So, sky's the limit there. Let's see what happens.
Thank you, Jody. Congratulations. Good luck in the next 2 races. Jody Jamieson, winner of the Princeton Farms Preferred Trot aboard Cool Muscle.
All right, thank you to Jody. He sounds confident off a big win, and we'll see if he can parlay that later tonight in the Camlock Classic. Time for another quick break, and we'll meet the drivers in this year's Camlock when we come back.
Proclamation, she looks strong up front. Camille is digging first over. She's up to within a neck now. Inside, Ticket to Rock, Was Mula. Second over, but gapped on the cover now as the pace picks up here. Ginger and Fred rolls 3 high from the back. 3/4, 125. 28 flat in the backstretch. Proclamation, the stablemate Camille's giving her all she can handle here now on the last turn. Ticket to Rock is third from way back, Ginger and Fred. Top of the stretch time, Proclamation and Camille. Proclamation short lead. Camille relentless in pursuit. She's back up on the outside, chasing Proclamation right to the end, but can't get her. Proclamation all the way in the Forest City Pace final. 153-2, stakes record performance.
And welcome back, and there are the participating drivers in the Camluck Classic tonight making their way trackside. And we will have the driver intros and meet our starting lineup, if you will, in terms of drivers for this year's Camluck Classic. So right now, let's throw it up to track announcer Shannon Sugar Doyle. Take it away.
Louis Philippois, Jody Jamieson, Travis Cullen, and Trevor Henry. So we're going to start it here on the right with Bob McClure, right? Yes, indeed. We're going to the right. Bob McClure, just shy of 3,000 career driving victories. He's now won over $35 million in purse earnings during his 14 years in the sulky. He was the winning driver of the Hambletonian winner there in 2019 and received the O'Brien Award for Canada's Driver of the Year in 2020. And here he will be driving Poseidon Sealster tonight, Bob McClure. Coming in off a career best year for earnings, he has over 600 driving wins, almost $5 million earned in the bike. His career highlight victory could very well be his 2012 Gold Cup and Saucer victory aboard 18 at Charlottetown. Tonight he tries for the big win here in London on board Twinbee Tough Enough, Tottermore. He's the reigning Keith Waples Driver of the Year in Canada with 2,780 career driving wins, over $46 million earned lifetime. He's fresh off a 149 win aboard Lion Drive Hanover, now the fastest horse ever to pace a Canadian half-miler. Tonight, his speedster will be Tattoo Artist. Give it up for James McDonald. He was the winner of our signature race, driving Bit of a Legend here in 2017, and now 5 years later, he's come back for another try. There's a good chance he'll go over 5,000 career driving wins this season. Tonight, he'll look to add to his career money totals of $83 million aboard the Invader. Fun at the beach. Welcome back, Jordan Stratton. He drove our track record holder, Rock and Ron, to a 150-3 Camlock Classic victory in 2018. He captured the Ontario Regional Driving Championship held here just a few weeks ago. Now with over $30 million earned, he'll soon make it to 2,000 career driving victories. In the bike of Jimmy Frake will be Louis Philippois. He's won a lot of big races all over the world, but he has yet to win our signature event here in London, Canada's Driver of the Year in 2007 and 2009. Plus, he was the 2011 World Driving Champion. 8,436 career wins, $140 million plus in purse earnings. Tonight, he gets the call on Ocean Rock. Here he is, Jody Jamieson. He quickly made a name for himself in the business of winning horse races in Western Canada and then moved his show on to Ontario. Now with 1,813 career wins, almost $14 million earned in purse money, he'll have the outside post to overcome aboard American history, Travis Cullen. He drove Upset for the Ages winner Eagle Luck to a track record 151-1 victory in our big race back in 2008 with over 7,000 driving wins, $71 million earned. He enjoyed driving Desperate Man to a 2021 North America Cup victory, and tonight he gets the assignment aboard This Is the Plan, back in London, back in a big way, Trevor Henry. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your lineup of drivers competing in this year's $150,000 Camlock Classic presented by Sealster Farms. Thanks so much for being with us here tonight, gentlemen, and wishing you best of luck, good horse racing. It should be a dandy.
Well, that was fun. Nice to put a face to some of the drivers. You know, for those who watch night in and night out, you see the guy out on the track with his helmet on and the colors on, and it gives it a little different glimpse. And it's got to be a nice feeling for them too, right? A night like this, performing and doing what they do in front of a a crowd with this kind of a reception.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a huge stage, and we got a packed house tonight. I just kind of wonder, like, I mean, so many of these guys have been through this so many times in their life, you know. I wonder to myself what's going through Tyler Moore's mind right now. He's young. This would be one of his first experiences, you know, being out in front of the grandstand and introduced, getting ready to drive a major horse for his dad in a major stake race, you know, and it just seems like he's completely relaxed, like he's joking around and having fun. And, you know, it's just amazing how these young guys, they just seem like they're, you know, they get a hold of it a lot better than I ever did, you know. It's really amazing.
Yeah, Tyler's a good young driver. He's really gotten some notice here in the last couple of years. And I'm going to go on a limb, and I don't want to offend his father, Ian, but I think Tyler is a better driver than Ian was.
I agree
Ian's
with
a
that.
great horseman.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that, you know, and I, like, and other things too, like, I mean, you guys got to see Colin Kelly a lot here, and now he's just starting to kind of make his way more towards Mohawk and that. I think he's another great driver. Like, we got so many of them lined up, you know, that seem like they're starting to make their way there, you know, with your Colin Kellys, your Brett McDonalds, and other, you know, hopefully Jay Harris at one time. I mean, the Mohawk circuit could have like the youngest drivers talent or youngest drivers colony and just loaded with talent. You know, it's nice seeing young guys starting their career off that way.
Now, you talked about a young guy like him and the pressure he could be feeling. You've been in both situations. You were the young guy starting out when you got those first opportunities in big races versus a seasoned veteran that won all the big races. How different was the feeling going in? You know, over time, did you become more relaxed, more confident in those races, or did the nerves still, were they still there under the surface?
No, I think you were on, like, I did. It just, when the first few times you do it, it's like the only thing in the world. You have to win, you know, and then the more you start to do it, then you just like you said, you start to relax and chill a little bit, handle it a little bit better, and usually your results are a little bit better because you're going into the races more chill, more used to that center stage, you know, big moment kind of a thing. But I think one of my very first big wins was the Canadian Pacing Derby for Stu Ferlot, and that was real early in my career, like around 97 or something, and it was the most amazing moment at that point that I'd probably ever had in my life, other than the birth of my daughter, you know. But it was just amazing, but that was the biggest thing. It never stayed away. It never ended. Last year I win the final of the grassroots for 3-year-old trotting colts, and it was like one of the biggest wins of my, you know, it never goes away. Stake races, stake finals never go away.
Yeah, well put, for sure. And that's the fire that burns within top drivers, I think. So Tyler Moore, yeah, big moment for him tonight. Most of the other guys have been here before. And that'll be one of 2 starters sent out by Ian Moore, who knows this race well. He's had a number of starters over the years, and of course won it 3 consecutive years with state treasurer. And Randy, of course, was the one that got the first win with him in 13, and then your friend Chris Christoforou guiding the horse to victories in consecutive years after that. Might be maybe after the post parade we'll answer that trivia question on that note. So we'll get the guys in the control room to get that answer ready. Following our post parade, we'll revisit that trivia question, and we'll see if anyone was able to name that other horse. Only 2 horses to three-peat in the history of this event. State Treasurer was one, and we asked who the other one was. Horses and drivers are heading out here for race number 10. The Canadian Queen of Racing, So Much More, coming off a win last time on the Fillies and Mares Preferred. One of her 40 career wins, one of her 40 wins in 90 starts since moving here to Ontario, where she's earned $900,000 plus for Don and Ken Beatson, father and son combination, and their grandson Cole England. A real family affair. But Randy, a big test for her, and we haven't seen her on the half-miler in quite some time, and she has got quite a field she's facing tonight.
She is, but one of the things that I think that is so fantastic about So Much More is she's so versatile. We've seen her race in front. We've seen her race from off the pace. I think James has a lot of different options with her behind the gate, and there's nobody really doing any better job right now than finding the winner's circle in big races than James McDonald, or any races for that matter.
So owner Adriano Sorella, trainer Richard Moreau, driver Louis Philippe Poivre. Same connections that will send out Jimmy Freight. They've got Dream Dancing in this spot. Post 3, a long shot at 34-1. I mean, understandable she would be long odds, but I don't see anyone in here that should be 34-1. That's how competitive this group is.
No, I mean, she just doesn't quite have the credentials of some of the other fillies. You know, you look at it So Much More, $935,000 made, Dream Dancing $217. She just hasn't really seemed like she's got to quite that level yet. She's raced really well though down at Woodbine Mohawk. She's raced herself up to the mare's preferred. She's raced herself up to non-winners of 29,000 and raced quite well. She's a really, really good filly, but So Much More is deep. The Barn Dog's Watching, deep. Gia Surreal. There's Karma Sealster from the outside. Could do anything in this race. You know, it just really is a wide open race filled with really, really great mares.
Exactly, and you look at the backgrounds of these various mares, it's interesting as well. Snow Shark, an Alberta Stakes graduate who's become a regular at Mohawk. Karma Sealster, we've seen her most recently racing at Yonkers in the Blue Chip Matchmaker Series, made a very good account of herself, won a couple of legs of that. Tough trip in the final though. And with her and So Much More side by side, a real feather in the cap of the Ontario breeding program. Karma Sealster, a graduate of the London Selected Sale, one of the highest priced yearlings ever to go through the sale there, $127,000. She's banked $822,000 since. So
unbelievable.
I mean, that really is spectacular. And again, nice that there's the tie-in here to London. She came right through the sale here. Here she is back racing in the Forest City Pace at this venue. So Much More returning to the scene of her first Ontario victory back in 2019 in a grassroots division. And Gia Surreal, she's a graduate of the New York Sire Stakes program, and she looks like she will be a big handful tonight from Post 2.
She's really raced so well her entire career. Made almost $300,000 last year, 29 starts last year, 7 wins. So she knows how to win. She's winning at that over 20%, what we like to see. And, you know, she fits in here very, very well. Obviously a half-mile track sort of specialist. And coming out of the Donnie Lindsay barn, that's not going to help her, or I mean, that's not going to hurt her in the least. She's got a great driver with Bobby McClure. Things are matching up good for them. I used her on the bottom part of my exactor. I went with So Much More onto Gia Surreal, onto the Barn Dogs Watching. I'm amazed that the Barn Dogs Watching has gone 7 starts this year without a win. This will be her 8th start. She has to win a race here soon, and this could be the one.
Way better than that.
Yes,
shows,
exactly.
For sure. And top connections here as well. Maneri, Jameson, they know their way to the winner's circle. As well, we talked about Snow Shark, an Alberta graduate. You've got the Cullens teaming up here. They've transplanted from Western Canada a few years back. Ed and Ashley Hensley, who send out Major League. And, you know, there's some horse people that fit in like a glove when they came to Ontario and have done great things. And that one is an Australian bred, we should mention as well, in Major League. Going to look at the wagering pools here for this race. Some nice pools here in race number 10, and I'm sure we'll see some massive pools for the Camlock Classic a little bit later as well. Getting a bit later in the evening, some of the other tracks finishing up for the night. So these races are really going to take center stage, and I think that's fantastic too, right? You know, over the years we've seen big nights and major races, and they're overlapping multiple other tracks. It's kind of nice when other tracks, you know, we even had the guys at the Big M tonight promoting this on the pregame show, and that's wonderful to see the kind of cooperation. We're all in the industry together, and behooves all of us to work together on these big nights.
Absolutely, but I also, in my own personal opinion there, I think in the last 20 years, Western Fair Raceway has become a very dynamic map for any racetrack or anything else. The racing here is phenomenal. Very, very good racing.
All right, the gate rolling. It's the return of the Forest City Pace presented by Mac Lily Farms. Enjoy.
Major League, Ed Hensley. It's the return of the Forest City Pace presented by Mac Lily Farms. Race 10 in London starts right now. They're off. Gia Surreal first off the car, though along the inside, the Barn Dogs Watching and Jody. They're off stride. Off stride went the one, the Barn Dogs Watching. That's going to leave Major League from the back tier spot with a big two-hole ride. Gia Surreal already on top by 2.5 lengths. Extreme Long Shot, the longest shot on the board. Major League will follow the 4-5 favorite on through an opening quarter mile. A Dream Dancing a second, 27-3 was the quarter mile speed. So traveling in fourth is a Snow Shark. Fifth best was She's None Better. She stayed in. Going out from sixth was So Much More. Following on the live cover will be Karma Sealster. Back down pacing, though a gapped off trailer now is the Barn Dogs Watching. Down in front of us they travel Gia Surreal being left alone here at 4-5 for Bob McClure. The lead is 2 full lengths. He took a peek over his shoulder and there's nothing coming. They can't get close. 56-4. The halftime for Gia Surreal. It's Major League towing along Snow Shark with a big rushing and brushing move as they get on by the 5-8. Snow Shark quickly with a challenge now for Gia Surreal. Major League is all alone in third. So Much More just took fourth. A buried fifth for Dream Dancing. Out there in sixth was Karma Sealster. They're going big time speed through the third. 124-3. 27-4, third fraction for Gia Surreal. She's being asked to pick it up and she's responding. Snow Shark holding down second over So Much More, who will battle on for this play spot. Taking fourth on the outside was Karma Sealster. It appears they're racing for a place in this one. This is Gia Surreal. McClure on board for Lindsay to come home and win the Forest City Pace. Karma Sealster second. The Barn Dogs Watching somehow from last to third. Dream Dancing fourth. Matching the track record for mares. 152-4. Gia Surreal.
Well, that race had a little bit of everything, but the bottom line is Gia Surreal capitalizing on the inside post, getting around some traffic trouble early on, and never really seriously threatened. Really unfortunate to see So Much More hook up with Snow Shark. They hooked wheels turning for home, took both of them out of it. Karma Sealster, though, great result from post 7. And how about the comeback from the Barn Dogs Watching?
Well, you see, that's my thing is, like, I just don't, and that makes her 0 for 8. Like, she's racing so fantastic. I just don't understand why she's not getting her way back to the winner's circle. You know, she's right there every week, but just doesn't seem to win. And last year, she more or less win half of her starts, you know. So I think at some point there, the Barn Dogs Watching's really going to, you know, turn a corner and start to win races again.
I agree, and a big, strong mare, and
yes.
It's just a matter of time. And when she does eventually win, she'll probably start winning in bunches. Gia Surreal, though, such a great mare, especially on a half-mile track, and she showed that tonight. And equaling the track record, 152-4, the track record established back in 2012. I think it definitely would have been lowered had she had to do a bit more racing early in the mile.
Oh, I agree. You know, she was well in hand. No one was a threat to her, especially when So Much More and Snow Shark ended up hooking wheels. But my own opinion, I don't know if So Much More was ever going to get to her tonight. She had a big jump on her at the head of the lane, and I just think that this was the filly that, you know, she got the best trip, I would say, and capitalized on it.
Yeah, and you know, it's so unfortunate. So Much More, I agree. I don't think she was winning tonight, but I think she was going to be a second or third for sure, the way it was going. And boy, that's tough luck. And you hate to see that that happen. But that is horse racing. And good fortune for others in the field, the likes of Karma Seelster, who rallied late, got around that, and was a very good second. I'm sure the connections are
Bobby
ecstatic
McClure, for whatever reason it is, Bobby McClure is able to smell stake finals. Really, like you know what I mean? Like stake finals, he does a great job all the time, but it just seems like he's always able to find his way into a stake final and get there first. You know, I don't think anybody would say that she was clearly the best mare in here or stood out that way, but he did everything right, got her in a great position, controlled the race after that, kept her out of trouble, and he just really seems like when there's a stake final on the line and this guy's in there, he really does seem to find the winner's circle more times than he doesn't.
You're right, and just getting word now, the inquiry is on the Barn Dogs watching, so they're going to review that break in the first turn and just make sure that no rules were violated, no violation of the braking rule, and hopefully not, because boy, what a comeback this is. So we're going to get a look at it here going into the first turn. She gets steppy. But
I think she just did it on her own.
In my opinion, I think Jody gets her off the racetrack. She, of course, will plummet through the field and will go all the way back to last. So at first glance there, it looks, Randy, like Jody did observe the braking rules properly there. And, yeah, such a disadvantage. You've got to plummet all the way back to last. So remarkable to come back and finish third. Looks like Rob Reed Jr. standing by with winning driver Bob McClure. So we'll send it over there now.
Down. Judges say no violations by one to Barn Dogs watching, no violations by one. Robert Reed Jr. with Bob McClure.
In the winner's circle with Bob McClure aboard Gia's Surreal in the Forest City Pace presented by McAlee Farms. You know, I got to ask you, Bob, you know, you had your mind made up right off the gate there. Was that always the game plan going into this one?
She's just so handy, you know, at a track like this, you want to be able to take advantage of that. She drew good, so I'd say that was definitely plan A. Plan B, I think she would have taken that in stride too.
And you got, you know, rushed at one point by Snow Shark. Is that something that, you know, there's a quick reaction to? Like, did you feel it coming? Because, you know, I often wonder, you know, in a race like that, you're seeking opportunity for that one to blast like that. You know, what's going through your mind?
Well, I was definitely stealing some pretty cheap fractions for the caliber of mare, so I expected somebody to give her a pretty big run, but I should have had mine a little more ready. Snow Shark's very fast, so. But, you know, once I got mine started up, she just kind of rolls like a train, and she finished up real strong, so I was pretty confident at three-quarter pole.
And you've created some great relationships in this sport, you know, connections that you typically drive for, and Don Lindsay is one of them. You know, talk a bit about the importance of that for someone like yourself.
Oh, definitely. It's important, and Don's always been really good to me. We've got a pretty good working relationship, but he also does a really good job. So, you know, this is a big night. He's got two really nice horses. I knew coming here, you know, he was going to have them ready.
All right, and coming up next on the Camlock Classic, you've got the pole position with Poseidon Seelster. Will we expect to see a similar game plan with that one?
Oh, you certainly won't get away last.
All right, there you have it, folks. Bob McClure, winning driver aboard Gia Surreal in the Forest City Pace.
All right, thank you very much, Rob. And nice to hear from Bob McClure. So that may be a nice prelude for our Camlock Classic. We're going to see the same connections from post one with Poseidon Seelster in the main event. There's a look at the mutual returns. Gia Surreal, public was all over it, $3.80. Post position, key on a half-mile track, definitely was here.
Absolutely. And especially, you know, sometimes having the inside with certain horses isn't going to work to your advantage. You know, a big gated horse that kind of, you know, maybe it's a little pinching them down. Well, a perfect example is the Barn Dogs watching. Big horse, pinched down to the inside, not much room, and, you know, they can make a mistake. But if I had my choice of every horse that I ever drove on a half-mile track, if I could have the rail or the two-hole, I'd take it any time.
Absolutely. Karma Seelster, long shot, finishing a good second. The Barn Dogs watch him with a big comeback to be third. There's a look at your exotic payouts as well, there's one left to go tonight from London. The main event, the $150,000 Camlock Classic. We'll talk more about that when we return to the raceway. Ready, the $150,000 Classic returns to the raceway Friday, May 27th, featuring fine dining, party on the patio, giveaways, and more. Parking and admission are free. Visit camlockclassic.ca.
As the industry's leading sales agency, Preferred Equine recently introduced its exciting new online sales portal, Preferred Equine Online. Developed by our experienced sales team, the powerful new platform with cutting-edge technology makes buying and selling easy from the comfort of your home or office over any device. Our experienced sales team offers full customer service for buyers and sellers as it relates to the collection, distribution, and transfer of the horses offered. Sellers can enter a horse as easy as 1, 2, 3 with a searchable database while allowing comments, photos, and other documents. Buyers can view live pedigrees, past performances, and race videos. To create your account or learn more, visit www.preferredequine.com or call 914-773-7777.
One lap to go in the pace. Bandolito is at him on the outside in second. Dancing Yankee third. Apprentice Hanover in a good striking spot on the outside for the half. Rocked and clocked in 54-4. They're all chasing, foiled again as they bend out of the 5/8 turn. Right to this number pick comes Bandolito. Dancing Yankee tripping out in third. Apprentice Hanover thinking about the 3 wide side right about now. Then it's Better's Edge. State Treasurer winding up off the back end. 3/4 teamed and beamed in 123 flat. Final turn now, and it's still foiled again. Here comes Apprentice Hanover. State Treasurer has come from last, and he shows up in third now with an 8 left to go. This is foiled again, being awesome. It's awesome being foiled again. Apprentice Hanover may have him. Here's State Treasurer, foiled again. Apprentice Hanover, State Treasurer! State Treasurer, awfully close on the line. That is incredible.
Well, we saw a big recovery from the Barn Dogs Watchin' in race 11, the Forest City Pace, race 10, I should say. And that was State Treasurer coming back from last to first after a miscue in the first turn to win in the Camlock Classic, formerly the Molson Pace. And he was a three-peat winner in this particular event. We wanted to know who were the only 2 horses to do that. So we gave away one half of it. And we want to know who the other one is. And a couple of people had it right in the chat. And we're going way back into the mid-1970s for the other one. Nice one, Randy, by the name of Jambo Dancer.
Wow.
Yeah, 1976 through 78.
My father owned him at one time, Jambo Dancer. Yeah, he did. He bought him, I think, at the Harrisburg sale or something. And he ended up selling him to Kent Baker, I think, for $50,000 or something around that. But what a horse. I mean, and like, he just had such a dominant run for a while. Like, I mean, it was the Mohawk Gold Cup. He won that multiple times. This race multiple times. He traveled all over and won like a lot of races. He was an amazing animal.
So to win 3 in a row at this level is pretty amazing. He did it in the mid-70s, and it wasn't until 2013 when a horse was able to start off that streak again, and that was State Treasurer, guided that year by one Randy Waples, and rattled off victories in 2013, 14, and 15. Well, we saw a big effort from State Treasurer in that flashback. Speaking of huge efforts, the fastest horse in the history of harness racing in a half-mile track is This Is the Plan. And he's in the field tonight. We're going to take you back and show you the final half of that race last year, the Battle of Lake Erie, where he dominated in world record time.
The battle rages on to the inside. Second, Stars Align. On the outside to be third is Southwind Amazon. A tough trip for the old horse there. On the inside then is Western Joe. Moving out 3 wide, Little Rocket Man. Also trying to move up his Century Pharaoh as they continue to 3/4. And the leader, This Is the Plan, in Yannick Gingras there in second. Stars Align. Western Joe is third. 3/4. 1:20. 20 3/5 and around the final turn. This is the plan. The leader by 2.5 lengths, and their second, Stars Align. On the inside, Western Joe, as they move to the top of the stretch in the Battle of Lake Erie. And the leader, This is the Plan, has opened up on him here. An impressive effort tonight. This is the plan to win. Western Joe in first, second, Catch the Fire third, tight for the rest, 147 3/5.
This is the plan. And there's a look at him tonight, all decked out in his yellow harness. Got the yellow hood, and it matches quite nicely with driver Trevor Henry and his colors. Could be a match made in heaven.
Absolutely.
This is the plan. He'll have the trailing post 8 here in this star-studded field. Many people feel this is the deepest we've ever seen for the event. If not the deepest, it is right there with some of the very best. There's another look at the field. We're going to quickly bring up a board on Jimmy Freight, I think, before the post parade. We'll be throwing to Sugar Doyle in a moment. But a look at the runaway freight train in Canada this season. Jimmy Freight, almost unbeatable.
Yeah. When he first started back, it took him a few starts because, unfortunately, he was away 2 years and he had to start at the top level. And that's so hard for any horse to come off of a 2-year jump into the very top level and start winning again. Took him about 3 or 4 starts. Then he started to win, and they can't shut him down now. He's right back to being Jimmy Freight. Just a great, fantastic son of sports rider. $1.6 million lifetime, Greg.
And he won from an almost impossible spot last time out at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
I didn't think he had any shot. Tattoo Artist was locked gone, and he was still probably about 5-6 lengths out at the head of the lane, and he just kept pacing, and he mowed the horse down. Amazing, amazing animal.
Yeah, and he has 24 foals on the ground now. He's got a first crop selling this fall. So time to meet the field for the Camlock Classic. Here's Sugar Doyle.
Along with William Alamjevic of New York. His quickest win on a half-miler came up on April 4th in the Borgata Series at Yonkers in 151. He's a career winner of $335,000 with a mark of 147-4, taken over the Big M in 2021. A product of Sealster Farms. He's trained by Don Lindsay, driven by Bob McClure. This will be the raceway debut for one Poseidon Sealster. Caretaker Joe Tolino bringing out a recent purchase for Patrick Boris of Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, and now in the care of trainer Dr. Ian Moore. This is where his road begins to PEI's Gold Cup and Saucer in August. A winner of almost $600,000 with a mark of 149-4 over Harris, Philadelphia. This will be his first start for the new connections, but you can count on him being ready to battle. If there ever was a dark one in our signature event, this would be it. Tyler Moore driving number 2, Twin B, Tough Enough. Giselle Loader, the caretaker for number 3. This is for Let It Ride Stables and Frank Cannon of Florida, along with Diamond Creek Racing of Pennsylvania. He's the O'Brien Award 3-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year for 2020. He equaled the Yonkers 149-3 track record in one of his 3 open handicap victories there in 2021. Now a winner of $1.3 million, sporting a life best of 147-1 taken at the Meadows in 2021. Back in the care of Dr. Ian Moore, James McDonald on board, 3 Tattoo Artist. Sarah Anthon out with the next one, trained by Jeff Gillis for owner Mark Ford of New York. He has 6 victories already this season over the Yonkers half-miler, including the upset win in the $549,000 Borgata Series final, stopping the clock in 150-1. That was in late April. A winner of $740,000 life. His 150 flat career best win came at Yonkers last fall. A solid third in his Canadian debut, where he clocked a mile in 48-2. We'll welcome back driver Jordan Stratton on half-mile specialist for Fun at the Beach. Richard Ballou, the caretaker for the next one, owned by Adriano Sorello of Guelph, Ontario. He's a $1.6 million winner who matched his life mark of 148-1 in his latest start here in Ontario, where he now rides a 5-race win streak into preferred free-for-all ranks at Woodbine Mohawk Park. His fastest half-mile track victory came in the 2018 Messenger elimination over Yonkers. That was 150-3. An O'Brien Award 3-year-old pacing colt of the year from 2018, trained by Richard Morrow, driven by Louis-Philippe Waugh, Jimmy Freight. Tisha Symes out with the next one. Owned and bred by Sandra Burnett of Wilmington, Ohio. This Breeders' Crown champ of 2021 is $1.2 million earned and sports a mark of 148 flat, taken over the 5/8 track of Dayton. His fastest half-mile track win was a 148-1 victory last season at Northfield. He would match the world record for 4-year-old pacers in doing so. Also setting a 151-1 world record on a half as a 2-year-old in 2018. He's for trainer Christy Pokarnowski. Jody Jameson, catch driving 6, Ocean Rock. Vanessa Hook coming out with the next one, owned by Brad Grant of Milton, Ontario. He's a winner of $1.4 million with a life best mark of 147, taking over the Big M at 3. He's a Breeders' Crown champion of 2019 over Woodbine Mohawk Park. He's also a co-holder of the 149-3 track record over Yonkers, and he can most certainly scoot around any half-mile track. It's going to be Travis Cullen aboard. Second time for trainer Richard Morrow, number 7, American History. Kelly McNiven, caretaker for the next one, owned by Burke Racing Stable and Weaver, Ruscemi LLC of Pennsylvania, J&T Silva, Purnell and Libya, Florida, and Lawrence Carr of New Jersey. He's the reigning half-mile track world champion, courtesy of a 147-3 life mark taken in the 2021 edition of the Battle of Lake Erie at Northfield Park in Cleveland, Ohio. The richest pacer of this field, $2.7 million earned for trainer Ron Burke, fresh off a 47-3 runner-up finish last Saturday at the Meadowlands. One of the best ever to sit behind a horse in London. Trevor Henry driving 8. This is the plan. That is your field, ladies and gentlemen, for the $150,000 Camlock Classic, presented by Sealster Farms. Of course, there's a winner's circle presentation to follow. You've got the exactor try, the super high five, guaranteed pool of $10,000 to think about, and number 3, tattoo artist, currently a 2-to-1 second choice. That's the one we're looking at right now. James McDonald, Robert Reed Jr. sending it on down to you. I'm at a gas. I got to rest up. I got to call a horse race in just a few moments. Take it away.
All right, Sugar Doyle with the introductions, and yeah, the excitement is at a fever pitch here in the grandstand. You can sense it. We've got some major horsepower on display here tonight. Had a look at Tattoo Artist. Makes a great pre-race appearance, scoring out there in the backstretch. Jimmy Freight, how's he look?
Jimmy Freight looks like the epitome of a fantastic racehorse. And you're right. You can just, everybody's starting to come out of the grandstand. They're all starting to try to grab a seat by the rail to get a good view. And this is what racing's all about, eh, Greg? Like, I mean, as often as you've been around too, so many big races you've been associated with, like, there's a different feeling when it's a big race, when it's a classic race. There's a buzz and electricity,
And these horses are specimens too, right? And for a lot of these people, this is the only time all year, perhaps, that they're going to get to see this type of horse up close in a race like this, and it is quite a treat.
And so many of them sitting here dreaming of maybe one day them being lucky enough to be a Don Beatson to pick up so much more, or some of these other horses, the connections of them and that. Like, anybody can own one of these horses. They're tough to get a hold of, but anybody can be there. And that's the dream of anybody that's in this business, or anybody that wants to get in this business. This is the level of horse you want.
There's Jordan Stratton. So He is not a regular here. He's the lone American-based driver to make his way up tonight. But he's got the benefit. He knows this track well, and he's won the race in the past with Bit of a Legend. So he knows what it takes. He knows how to get around the track. He's had to drive earlier on the program. And Fun at the Beach, talk about Johnny on the spot this year in that Borgata final. What a time to step up with a big win for $550,000.
Yeah, this is the plan, is the fastest horse ever on a mile track. He's made $820,000 last year. This year he's got $80,000 made, and so obviously off to a big year. 7 starts, $80,000. Fun at the Beach, $404,000 made so far this year. 17 starts, $400,000 made. Like you said, he just started his year off in a very opportune way. A couple of the favorites got roughed up in the final of the Borgata. He didn't. He got tripped out and was able to get there going for $500,000.
And the horse that really got the worst of it in the Borgata final was This Is the Plan. I don't think he was good that night anyway, and I think he kind of got himself in that trouble, and then parked the mile and badly beaten 8th. But boy, did the Connections have to be happy with the way he bounced back May 21st at the Meadowlands. Second, chasing Nicholas Beach in 47 and change, 26-2 in the end. He looked like the old.
And that was after a month off.
That's right, and coming off of that kind of a race. So folks watching, let us know who you are picking. About some final selections here online, let us know. I went with Fun at the Beach. It took a shot. I just think he's in a good position to pick up the pieces. He's going to need, I think, some others to do the work, though. I don't see him going to the front and controlling it or anything like that, where others will likely try that approach. Who do you like?
I'm going to stick with my old friend Jimmy Freight. I've picked him pretty well his last couple of wins. That last win, it was just such an incredible mile. And I haven't seen him on a half-mile track for a while, so I'm excited. You excited?
I am excited, and hopefully you are excited as well. The starting gate rolling. Track record here at the Raceway, 150-1, Rock and Ron from 2018, the $150,000 Camlock Classic Final.
Ocean Rock, Jody Jamieson, American History, Travis Cullen. Back here, This Is the Plan. Trevor Henry, the starting gate, picks up speed for the $150,000 Camlock Classic presented by Sealster Farms. They're off, and it's on. Poseidon Sealster with the rail advantage got out there first. Next door in second is Tattoo Artist traveling into third. Ocean Rock with early speed gets a big 3-hole to open up. They straighten for the backside run. Tattoo Artist James McDonald wants this one on the point, and at 4-5 he's got him there going on hold. Poseidon Sealster at 25-1 is going to sit second. Here's the quarter-mile bullet, 26-1. Tattoo Artist on top by 2. It's Poseidon Sealster in second. Ocean Rock right on the bit there in third, staying in fourth. Twin B Tough Enough out and rolling fifth. Jimmy Freight is on the outside. That's cover for This Is the Plan. Fun at the Beach is next to last. The earliest trailer is American History. It's going to be 4 in. It's going to be 4 out with 1 lap to go in the Camlock. Tattoo Artist right on the bit here for McDonald. Second best Poseidon Sealster. It's Jimmy Freight going to the Jets here with just over 3/8 left to go. The half clocked up in 55-1. Tattoo Artist down the backside. Second and final time. Jimmy Freight battles on with Poseidon Sealster for the deuce. Holding down fourth is Ocean Rock. This Is the Plan. Gapped on the cover. Fun at the Beach is out there in the 3-wide side. Twin B Tough Enough. American History 3/4 over there in 123-1. Here's the matchup going eyeball to eyeball. Tattoo Artist, Jimmy Freight, Poseidon Sealster is traveling third. Up on the wide side fourth. Fun at the Beach into the stretch. They're going to settle it here and now. Jimmy Freight, Tattoo Artist, Jimmy Freight on the outside. Jimmy Freight, raw on for Morrow and Sorella 150-2. Tattoo Artist was second, Poseidon Sealster, then Fun at the Beach, Twin B Tough Enough, Ocean Rock, This Is the Plan, American History. Oh, Jimmy Freight winning in 150-2, the $150,000 Camlock Classic presented by Sealster Farms.
After a 2-year hiatus, the Camlock Classic returns and does not disappoint. Classic indeed. And when you think about the marquee efforts in the history of this event, this one's going to go right up there. Jimmy Freight, nothing was handed to him tonight. No. You know, it looked like it could go either way at the 3/4 pole, but as soon as they got into the stretch and when it got down to nitty-gritty time, he found another gear.
He's just an amazing horse that just keeps coming. Like, he is so tough, this horse. And I really do hope that at some point he ends up being a stallion where he gets that right kind of a mare, because I think he's got some really, really amazing qualities as a racehorse. And I hope that he's able to pass them on at some point.
And Tattoo Artist, full marks. He did all the road work and battled through that big 3rd quarter, and he hung right in.
He raced fantastic. He really is. It's just unfortunate that this horse has come back, Jimmy Freight, the way that he has. And you got to remember, too, he was away from the races for 2 years, but that means 2 years of not getting beat up. This horse could race at a very high level, maybe to the type that we've seen foiled again, you know, carry it right to those 10, 11-year-old year.
Yep. I think he's grown up a bit too since that time.
I think he's filled out. He's gotten stronger, and more I agree.
Specimen out on the racetrack. Tattoo Artist, such a beautiful gaited horse and handles the half so well. And Poseidon Sealster, nice result as well from Post Walk.
I say when it goes for big money stake finals, Bobby McClure seems like he's always right there. He does a great job driving for money.
And there's Fun at the Beach, another nice check for him, finishing 4th. And it looked like Ocean Rock rounding out the top 5. And looks like he will need a starter too. And that's certainly understandable. And Jody with a nice steer to get some money with him. This is the plan, just didn't have it tonight. I would have expected better with the way the trip worked out.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking maybe along the same way with Fun at the Beach. Now, he did end up getting a piece of it, got a 4th, but I just kind of thought that he'd be a little bit better moving back to a half-mile track and getting a good trip last week, but he just didn't fire this night.
So 1:50.2 the win time, just misses the all-time track record here that Louis Philippe Waugh set back in 2018 with Rock and Ron. And Jimmy Freight, if you were to vote on an O'Brien Award right now as Canada's Horse of the Year, I don't think there's any question he would get it. Still a long way to go, but I think he's just going to continue to add to his resume.
I agree. I agree, Greg. Like, I mean, he is without a doubt the dominant horse up here right now. And I mean, he's not dominating off of going to the front and getting everything his own way. He's not dominating on coming with easy trips. This horse is a horse that can do it anyway. And it doesn't matter how hard the trip is, he's still able to capitalize most times.
And it is going to be interesting to see his offspring when they finally get to the racetrack. Bred a limited number of mares, has 24 foals on the ground now. We're excited. We're going to see some of his selling here this fall at the new London Classic yearling sale. And for Sports Writer, we've talked about the kind of resurgence he's had as a stallion in the last 2 or 3 years. Always was a top OSS stallion, but, you know, Jimmy Freight's more than just a good OSS horse. And Sports Writer's had a few, you know, that are grand circuit types.
Right. And one thing about Sports Writers, too, is I don't remember any stallion being in Ontario that their babies were so easy to train down. One thing about Sports Writer babies, they seem like they know their stuff right from the time that they step onto the racetrack. They're an amazing bunch. You know, some of them, maybe they don't end up finishing it off as well as when they started off, but the ones that do are the ones like Jimmy Freight, just amazing animals.
And you can't help now but start to dream and look ahead to races like the Canadian Pacing Derby here locally. And when you look at the talent that's just here in Ontario, we saw Line Drive Hanover do what he did in the Confed Cup. I think a Bulldog Hanover is going to bounce back and show us his stuff.
Desperate
Man and now Jimmy Freight. How fun is this division going to be to watch this summer?
It's so incredibly deep, you know. And I just found in the last few years, I kind of thought that maybe the trotters were a little deeper as an overall product, you know, whether it was the mares or whether it was the colts. I just kind of thought that the trotters maybe were a little bit deeper, but this year it is going to be some amazing older horse racing, mares and colts.
All right, let's hear from the winning connections of this year's Camlock Classic.
They threw it down out there, Jimmy Freight and Tattoo Artist. What did it look like from your perspective?
Well, that just proved that horse, he can do whatever you want. So having that asset, you got some horses in here that they just like to race on the front. So they were trying to do that and maybe torching a little bit each other. I was just happy the way it was going. I thought at some point I might be second over if Jody was going to move, but I didn't care being first up just because that's the type of horse he is. He doesn't care whatever you get him to work through. I just know the feeling going at the 3/4. I knew I was a winner by then. I told James Down, here comes the train, and they just laughed, Bob and him, after the race.
Oh, wow. That's, the sheer domination by Jimmy Freight in the preferred and the free-for-all at Mohawk Park, is that what really just gave you the confidence coming into this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know the horse pretty much. I drove him at 3, I drove him at 4, and the way he was racing lately, I've never seen him in that strong and, just confident so much. You could do, people that I've watched the last time he raced in Mohawk, came back 51-4, his own back half, 25-1 in the end. That just proved you how the horse is so incredible. So I just got the luck to sit behind him.
And what were the thoughts that you had when you heard he was going to come out of retirement? Did you think that he could come back anything close to what he is right now?
Well, actually, we've been talking about it with Adriano once in a while for almost a year, and I told him, the thing I like about it is that when he retired, he was perfectly sound. So, some horses, they have to retire. You see that sometimes they won't even race at 4 because they have some issues. That horse has been sound forever since I drove him. So I told him, I don't know what's the future. I can't tell. I haven't seen that much often horse being that way for 2 years. But the good thing is that he was sound when he retired. Should be sound when he come back. And we were a little bit skeptic after his first few start, because he had a lot of good training miles, and we were expecting him to be kind of ready, but they just need to race to be ready when they've been off for that long.
And, one tick off the track record here, you were aboard Rock and Ron, for that mile. I got to ask you, though, where does Jimmy Freight rank for horses that you've driven in your career?
Oh, he's my favorite horse for sure. He's the first good horse that I've been driving on Grand Circuit and been competitive, and he made $1.6 million, maybe $1.7 million now, I don't know. But most of it, I was sitting behind him, so he definitely is my top horse. And tonight was the best feeling I've ever had in a race when he went by and crossing the wire first.
Well, thank you, Louis. Congratulations. Louis-Philippe Roy, your winning driver of the Camlock Classic 2022 aboard Jimmy Freight.
Yes, and a nice round of applause. And thank you to Rob Reed Jr. for his work tonight. And congratulations, LPR, making his own history in this event. A track record with Rock and Ron a few years back, comes back here with Jimmy Freight. As special as Rock and Ron was, I think this would be a little more special to him because of what this horse means to him in his career.
Yeah, he's followed him a long time. The horse took Louis down to the States when Louis first started his career. And, he got to race in a lot of big races with this horse. Obviously, he means a lot to him. But when I was listening to his interview, and he said even himself, he's been driving him for a few years, he's never seen the horse any better than he is right now. And, we were just saying the same thing. He's put on so much weight since he's had the 2 years and with the stallion duty. He's just bulked right up. He looks fantastic. He's stronger than he ever has been in his life. He's very confident, obviously, and this could be an amazing go. And it always kills me too, sometimes we kind of get lost in the James McDonald sort of a thing, and then Louis is also a fantastic driver, and Bobby there's so many of them, it's a great time to be a harness racing fan.
Yeah, and I loved what he said. He said to James at the 3/4, "Here comes the train." And
yeah,
that could be a slogan.
Yeah.
We'll probably hear a lot of that
for
this
sure.
summer. Here comes the train.
Yeah.
Adriano Sorella, I was going to say,
machine.
Adriano will get some pins made, or
Yeah.
maybe it's not pins in 2022. Maybe it's something else, who knows. But yeah, what a story. What a great horse race from the purist standpoint, when two great horses hook up at the 3/4 like they did.
Yes.
And to hear the buzz in this crowd.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, it was. It was fantastic. You know, it was great being here. Thanks a lot for everybody having me here and that. It was, you know, it's fantastic from home, but being here live
like
and
it.
listening to the people screaming and everything that went with it, it was a great race.
Absolutely. Great night of racing overall. We thank you very much for joining us here tonight. We'll be taking a bit of a break for the next couple of weeks here on COSA-TV, but it's a very busy month of June here in the province. We will be covering some of the upcoming events, including the Pepsi North America Cup. How exciting is that? Back in its traditional June time slot in a couple of weeks at Mohawk Park. We'll be back in July, though, with a couple of live broadcasts from Clinton Raceway, the Kin Pace Final, the Dream of Glory, the Battle of Waterloo, of course, in August with the Earl Rowe Trot, and back with that Mohawk Million in September as well. It's going to be a fun summer of racing, and we'll be with you much of the way. Big thanks again to Randy Waples. Thank you to Jamie McDonald, our crew behind the scenes tonight, and we'll see you next time on COSA-TV.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming, and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
By now, you know the name COSA-TV, an industry leader producing unique, high-quality digital content promoting harness racing in Ontario. Features, virtual programming, live events, and more. COSA-TV has it covered. Follow our social media channels and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to view the latest content. And if you're looking to bet your favorite Ontario track, check out HPIBet.com. COSA-TV, taking Ontario racing global.